LeBron, what Anthony Davis is doing is ridiculous. I haven't seen a big man play like this since Shaq.
Well, okay, so how do we then put together the Embiid game though?
Well,
the game in Philly. That's
okay.
the one that I was like, okay, this is a big measuring stick game for both Anthony and the Lakers.
All right, so that's interesting that you bring that up. So everything went wrong in that Philly game. He got 3 fouls
early
in the first quarter, okay? So he gets 3 fouls in the first quarter. Embiid is going nuts. He's tearing everything up. And AD is being forced to play in foul trouble. And I saw him 7 or 8 times just let the other guy go. All right, so you think, I guess the reason you bring it up that way is you're suggesting that he had a bad game, okay?
Yeah, he ended up okay point-wise. But
well, let me show you how he ended up, all right? Now, this is a guy that played with 5 fouls and played in foul trouble the whole game. He ended up somehow playing 36 minutes, which surprised me when I went back and looked. All right? He had 31 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. Now, you watched the game. I watched the game.
I thought he had a bad game.
You had a bad game.
Yeah.
That's when you know somebody's great.
Okay.
He had a game where you, and I think most Laker fans thought, it's not his night. He doesn't have it. He's in foul trouble. He somehow finagles away to come up with 31 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals on an off night.
Yep.
When he's not playing well. Ramona, he's doing stuff. Again, I haven't seen since Shaq. LeBron's playing great. Austin Reeves looks like he's going to be in the NBA for 10 to 15 years. And I can't explain to people, other than I've obviously been to every game for 20 years. These games feel different. Even when they lose, they're really competitive and really fun. They should have won that Sixers game you're talking about.
Philly was trying to give it over. I mean, that was I actually, this is one of those weird admissions, but I thought it was over, right? Like the end of the game, it was like, what was it, 20 seconds left or something?
Unbelievable. 109-100 with 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
And they came back to tie it and should have won it.
So 109-100, and I go, okay, all right, Daniel, it's time. I'll put you to bed now.
Yeah.
So I go in the other room.
Don't blame you.
And all of a sudden I hear the TV going crazy. And as we walk back, and then by the time I walked back in there, it was almost tied. I had to make Daniel stay up a little later.
Yeah, so good. That's good parenting, by the way. So it was, this road trip was eye-opening in the sense that this team, they love the coach. Lonnie Walker's a freak athlete. LeBron's playing great. AD's playing great. Austin Reeves is playing great. When they won that game in Milwaukee, and then AD followed it up with 55 and 17, that's the Laker team that scares the rest of the league.
Yep.
Now, they don't do it every night. They need to get better at defending the 3. I'm not even saying they're going to make the playoffs. I don't even know.
I think they're going to make the playoffs.
I'm just telling you that I'm at all these games, and I've been going for years. There's a different feel in the building. There is a different buzz, a different excitement. All these cities we played in had a lot of Laker fans, and, man, it's just – I can't wait for tomorrow night. I think they're going to give the Celtics a game.
So
the Celtics are the number 1 offensive team in the league. They're the number 1 defensive team in the league. They're the number 1 3-point shooting, most made threes, highest 3-point percentage, highest free throw percentage. The Celtics, and they play the Clippers tonight and the Lakers tomorrow night. The Celtics are the best team in the NBA by a mile.
Yeah.
And I think the Lakers are going to go toe-to-toe with them tomorrow night.
Yeah, and they have, they had a bit of a favorable schedule to get back into this, okay? There was a lot of, like the game against Portland, where Portland had been home against the Clippers one night. They had to go down to L.A. the next night on a second night of a back-to-back. But you cannot just chalk this winning streak, or not winning streak, but this run to a favorable schedule. They went on the road and beat the Bucks.
And should have beat the Sixers.
And they should have beat the Sixers. Well,
yeah.
The Sixers tried to give it to them at the end, and they couldn't quite take it. But to me, if you would have told me at the beginning of this road trip that they were going to go 3-3, I would say that was a pretty good road trip.
Yeah.
And Anthony Davis wasn't going to be available for 2 of the games.
Right. And they probably should have been 4-2.
Yeah.
And
they were in the Cleveland game until the fourth quarter, and that was without AD.
And the schedule for the rest of the month is brutal. This week they have the Celtics tomorrow night and the Nuggets on Friday, 2 really good teams. So they may come down to earth, but I'm just telling you, These games are genuinely fun. And Greg made the totally fair statement that Laker tickets are expensive. But if you go to Lakers.com and you surf around a little bit, sometimes depending on the opponent, depending on where you're willing to sit, you can get into affordable. And I would encourage you, I've worked for both the Clippers and the Lakers. Don't settle for Clipper tickets. Clipper games are just a game. Laker tickets are an event. It's a different feel, a different buzz in the building. And plus, with the Clippers, you never know who's going to play. Like tonight, do we know if Paul George or Kawhi is going to play against the Celtics?
You never really know.
Yeah. I mean, it's just weird.
I'll look.
They're always game time decision.
Yeah, which is odd. But, where were they? Orlando the other day where Kawhi came in and hit two huge shots at the end? That's what they could be. It's just super hard to figure them out, And so... by the way, with no Mason today here, we can take phone calls. 877-710. Bergman has reluctantly agreed to answer the phones. 877-710-ESPN. 877-710-3776. When we come back, I want to ask you this, Ramona. They're going to make a trade. You can feel it in the air. They're shopping. They've promised LeBron that they won't sit on those picks. They are going to make a move. What should they go after? Jovan Buha wrote an article yesterday, said it's size. They need size. I say it's three-point shooting. Others would argue a defensive stopper who can stop guys like Donovan Mitchell. We'll get into that next.
Hey, is your vehicle due for a service?
Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play.
1 to 4 p.m. for your afternoon. Sandwiched between Travis and Sliwa and Sonato and Cap. Mason and Ireland continues now.
Hey, a little Bruce Springsteen Christmas music. It's about time. All right, Mason and Ireland. I'm John Ireland. Ramona's in for Mace. I just got back from 10 days on the road. Lakers won yesterday in Detroit to finish the road trip 3-3. Ramona, do you agree with me that they are going to make a trade? It's not a matter of will they. They're gonna.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. So, Bergman, I'll throw this at you first.
Okay.
Biggest need is what? A three-point shooter, an on-ball defender. Jovan Buha wrote over the weekend they need size. They need to
They do need size.
to get somebody big. If you could only check one of those boxes, I give you size, a three-point shooter, or a lockdown defender. Which one?
Can I take a guy with size that can shoot the three? Can I combine like a Vucevic type of player?
Well,
type of player. Doesn't have to be him. But
Ramon and I were just talking about that. There's this rumored deal out there that Chicago, because they're circling the drain, may be willing to part with DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic. Both went to USC, so both have Southern California ties. But, Momo, I'm not sure that, going back to my original question, fits the Lakers' needs. I love DeMar. Who doesn't? Mm-hmm. He's just a great guy. He's a great player. The other day he had like 34 and 12.
Yep.
And Vucevic is a solid big guy. But neither one of them are that lockdown three-point shooter like we saw yesterday with Bogdanovich. And neither one of them are a lockdown defender. Does that trade fit the Lakers' needs right now?
I don't see that.
And I'm not so sure Chicago's willing to give them up.
Chicago has an interesting choice to make because they just signed Zach LaVine to this giant deal. And he can't, this team doesn't necessarily work without Lonzo Ball in his defense. Because now you have LaVine, who's an okay defender.
Right. Athletic,
but probably needs some help. DeRozan and Vucevic were not seen as good defenders.
Correct.
And neither of whom really shoot threes.
Well, Vucevic does, but not like Greg. He's not what you would.
He's shooting
say.
like 37%.
Yeah,
so.
but he's not taking a ton of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's not a Buddy Hield thing. So more like if I were to put names into those boxes, the 3-point shooter would probably be Buddy Hield. The big guy would be either Vucevic or Miles Turner. And
Turner shoots threes, but not all that great.
The only thing is,
the lockdown defender.
Anthony Davis
is
a monster when he plays the five.
Right.
So if you're talking about Vucevic or Miles Turner, both those players dislodge AD from the five.
Right, but that's kind of what AD wants.
I know
I'm not
he
sure
wants
it's
that, but he's
Darvin
great
wants.
at the five.
Yeah.
And to me, what the Lakers can I do door number 3?
Sure.
So you think they need shooting? There's Jovan says they need size.
Right.
I would say they need youth and athleticism.
Like another Lonnie Walker.
Yeah. Perimeter
you know who's
guy.
loaded with youth and athleticism is Detroit. They have, like yesterday, they're terrible. They have the worst record in the league. You know what they remind me of? I sent a note to Jeff Katz. He's a big Pistons fan, so I was on the plane last night, and I sent a note to Katz. All their best players are under the age of 22.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey,
Sadiq Bey,
Jalen Duren, all these, Killian Hayes.
Yep, Killian Hayes.
And they just come at you in waves. And think about this, guys. So all those guys are under the age of 22. Detroit has the worst record in the league, which puts them on the pole position for Wembayama. If they get Wembayama, I think it's Oklahoma City with Durant, Harden, and Russ all over again.
Yeah.
I think they'd be in the finals within 5 years.
Wow.
If they get remember Oklahoma City? One year they played the Lakers and
that was the year Kobe basically said those guys are coming.
Right. And nobody knew what Kobe was talking about, but then 2 years later they were in the finals, and Russ dropped a 43-point game in the finals, and everybody went, wait, they have Russ, Durant, and Harden, and then the owners of the Thunder screwed it up because they didn't want to pay Harden. Mm-hmm. But the Pistons will have all those guys under rookie deals. And, like, Isaiah Stewart is 23.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham, who's out with a shin injury, is the best player on that team. He's not even playing.
Yeah.
And they're just athletic as hell. And so that's you know who else is? Oklahoma City.
Yep.
And there's a lot of
Orlando's got that too.
Yeah, and so, but young and athletic is like people just don't give those up. That's why everybody was so shocked that the Kings gave up Tyrese Halliburton.
Right.
Because even though they got a great player, they got Domantas Sabonis. When they gave up Halliburton, everybody went, "What?" Halliburton's going to be in the league 15 years. He's going to be an all-star.
So the biggest question for the Lakers to answer first is, what do you need? And number two is,
they need all those things, by the way.
Yeah, all of those things. Are you willing to give up some of your cap space for next year? Because right now, they are positioned to have a max cap spot.
Right.
Now, the free agents next year are interesting.
But who is
realistic?
It's not like baseball with Shohei Ohtani. It's not like there's a guy out there that's becoming a free agent next year that would win you the title. So it'll be interesting to see which.
Well, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Kyrie Irving, James Harden, free agents next year, potentially.
Of those two, who would you rather have?
I think I would go with Harden.
Why?
Because I think his game will age better, and I think he's more reliable. I think. He's a great shooter. He's not really been a catch-and-shoot guy, but theoretically, LeBron has done better when he has a secondary playmaker who can also initiate offense, and James can do that. Kyrie can do that, but I don't think I could rely on. I wouldn't trust the reliability.
Fred VanVleet is a free agent next year. Would you go after him?
Yeah, I would. I like him a lot.
So everything that you guys are talking about, though, Momo, do you think the Miles Turner Buddy Hield trade is probably fits the most boxes?
I don't love that trade.
I don't either. I don't think it makes him a championship contender.
And those two draft picks are amazing draft picks.
Yeah, and didn't Rob used to represent Harden?
Yeah. James had 5 different agents, but James was with Rob's agency when Rob switched over to become the general manager of the Lakers.
So it's. I think the Lakers are going to make a move. I don't know when they'll make it. A whole bunch of people become draft eligible on Thursday, on December 15th.
Trade eligible.
Yeah. Like 100 more guys become more. So it could get interesting, or it could go trade deadline middle of February, right?
Yeah, February 9th.
Okay. So they're going to do something. It's just a matter of what they do. And can they hover around 500 until they do it? And like we were talking about with Travis and Sliwa, the West is so tight right now. The Lakers are like in 13th place, and yet they're 3 games out of the 4 seed. That's how tight it is.
Yeah.
And so both the Lakers and the Clippers could be in the playoffs. Clippers, it all depends on when they get PG and Kawhi back together playing at the same time. Because that would be, think about it. Tonight, here comes Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. All right? One of the most underreported stories out there is that these two guys on the same team average over 57 points a game. Oof. Tatum averages 30, Brown averages 27. You have to go back. That's more, by a couple of decimal points, than Shaq and Kobe. That's more than LeBron and Wade. That's more than Russ and KD.
Wow.
That's how lethal these two dudes are. I think Tatum's first-team All-NBA and a candidate for MVP. I think Jaylen Brown is going to be on one of the other teams.
Yeah. The
second or third team.
Especially if they have the top record in the league.
Like I was listening, I got some of this from that podcast with Bill and Ryan, and Bill said everybody's going to think I'm just being a Celtics homer. No, he's not. Those two guys are legit good, and they both play defense, and they both rebound. Tatum's averaging 8 rebounds a game. Brown's averaging 7.
Wow.
And remember all that talk about they can't play together, we're going to break them up, and Danny Ainge never broke them up, and now look at them. Best record in the league, coming off a trip to the NBA Finals. And, Ramona, nobody can guard these two guys. They're averaging 57 points a game between two people. You know, when Shaq and Kobe were doing that, everybody said, Lakers are going to win 5 titles. And they almost did.
Yeah.
So, look out. I know Laker fans don't like to hear how great the Celtics are, but those two dudes are balling like no other teammates in the whole league.
Well, they're
averaging more than LeBron and AD.
One of the big questions in the preseason, remember how the Celtics were really upset that it leaked, that there was a story written about them, kicking the tires on a KD deal, on a Kevin Durant trade, that Jaylen Brown might have been
right.
That's
who Brooklyn wanted.
Yeah,
right. I don't blame him.
Would you do that trade?
Not if I'm Boston. No, not now. I wouldn't touch that Celtics roster. Ramona, they fired their coach 2 weeks before the season, and this guy, the Joe Mazzulla, is better than Udoka. It's like that time when Luke Walton took over for Steve Kerr and went like 36-4 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, they are loaded, and they're here for the next 2 nights. Tonight against the Clippers. You're going tonight?
Yep.
And then I'm going tomorrow night. So are you going tomorrow night too?
Yes. Well, theoretically. Let's see how tired I get.
I was going to say, back to your old life.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, we'll spin the wheel of questions, and I have a question that could get us all fired.
Oh, I love
so you
those.
don't want to miss that. Yeah, I'm
Salty Ireland
Yeah,
today.
I'm making Amanda come in for it. It's a whole thing.
Excellent.
We'll do it next. First, let me tell you about Toyota. Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play. Amanda's our program director. Our big boss here is a guy named Sam Pines. Sam is a great guy, but he hasn't even been here a year. We know him we don't know him really well. So, Amanda, here's my proposal. You ready?
Oh, geez.
I hand you a bucket
Okay.
full of water.
Okay.
All right? I offer to give you $1,000 if you walk into Sam Pines' office and without any warning or explanation, you can't tell him what you're up to. You walk up to him, you dump the bucket of water on his head, and you walk out, and you can't say anything for 60 seconds. After 60 seconds is up, you can do anything you want. You can apologize. You can give him the money. You can offer him half the money, whatever. Would you do it?
Quick question. For that 60 seconds,
Yeah.
do you just have to stand there staring at him?
No, you can walk out.
Okay, you can walk out.
And you can,
a bucket and a mop.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
so easy. I would absolutely do it. I wouldn't even have to think about it. I would do it. I would have no problem walking away. And you know what? In knowing Sam, I probably know him better than all of you. He would probably laugh.
Greg?
Yeah, Amanda's right. I think he would laugh, and then I'd offer him half the money because. But otherwise, yeah. I mean, he's the type of guy that as long as it doesn't hit his laptop, you should be fine.
Momo?
I don't think I would do that.
I don't think I would either.
I don't know him well enough. I've said hello a couple of times. Like, that would be super
I know,
weird.
I know Sam and like him a lot.
Yeah.
I just don't know how he would react.
Oh, no. He loves, like, jokes and funny things and, like, pranks
Okay.
and stuff
Okay,
like
let's
that.
make it, like, not about the boss, though.
No, I'll make it harder for Amanda.
Give me $1,000 right now.
Okay, wait. I'll make it hard for you and Greg. Okay. Both of you guys.
Okay.
Okay. Replace, in this scenario,
Replace the water?
replace Sam
Oh,
Yep,
Sam.
with Tim Harris,
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my.
who is my boss at the Lakers and
that's
who
a
we
hell
did
no
the
for me.
Laker deal.
I
Yeah.
do not know him well in any way, shape, or form. There's zero chance in my
Amanda,
life
But for,
I
you
would
know
do that.
Tim
for
well.
$1,000?
Yeah.
You know him.
I do know him.
Tim's got a pretty good sense of humor. I
Yeah.
don't know I could. I
does.
don't think I can.
He's a
do
little
it.
scary, though.
He knows I wouldn't do anything like that unless I had a reason, but
Yeah.
I still wouldn't do it.
You would get away with it, Amanda.
I think I would do it for $1,000. Sorry, Tim. Love ya, buddy, but for $1,000, I'm dumping
Yeah,
a
that's
cold
a no
bucket
for
of
me.
water on
That's
your
a
head.
big no
That's
for
a
me.
big no for me.
I always say with dares, I like dares when people offer me money to do
Yeah.
stuff. I always say with dares, I run it by a
Yeah.
2-question test. 1, will it physically hurt me or someone else?
Right.
And 2, can it in any way get me fired?
Right.
You're getting fired.
And
I mean, I might
and
get
B is-
suspended.
So
I mean,
on
and
the-
that's okay. I'll take the suspension for
Okay.
$1,000.
on the but
I don't
who
think you
knows
would.
From
I don't
Sam?
think
who
you
would
would.
suspend you?
No,
Or
no,
Tim.
for Tim Harris. Like if
Why would you get
well,
suspended
because
from
then Tim, comes to Sam as a partner and is like,
Hey,
"Hey,
Your girl
so
dumped a bucket of
your
water on my head
girl,
for no
Amanda
reason."
dumped a cold bucket of water on my head and just walked away.
Yeah.
What's up with that?"
if you
Okay.
came back 60 seconds later laughing, though, I think you'd be like, okay.
All right. So on the
He
plane,
would probably curse at me, but he would probably laugh.
on the plane, the example we used was Stu Lance.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good.
Greg, would you do it to Stu?
No.
Amanda?
Absolutely not.
I don't know. For $1,000, I think I'd do it to anybody.
Momo?
No,
I
not
would
to
not
Stu.
do that to Stu. I
Not
would
to
do it to
Stu.
you.
Well, Billy Mack and I,
Yeah.
when we were throwing this around, neither
Yeah.
one of us would do it to Stu.
Yeah.
And Billy Mack and I said we would do it to each other so fast
Yeah.
that they couldn't
Yeah,
take
not
the
even
offer
close,
back.
yeah.
But so then I went to Stu, and I told him the exact thing, and he looked at me for a second, and after he said, "I don't know how you think of this stuff," which is a very fair response,
Yeah.
he goes, "I'd want all the money."
Okay, and that's fair.
But
That's
then
fair.
it negates the dare.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the point of it then?
Yeah.
Just because
I
you
mean,
said,
then
hey,
all
I
you get
poured
out of-
water on Stu Lance.
Then all you get out of it is a story.
It's a
Which
good
is great.
story.
Good story.
All right,
a good
Amanda,
party
if I
story.
did it to a random employee here, if I just walked over to sales
Yeah.
and dumped it on the head,
Yeah.
and they came to you and they said, "Hey, John Ireland, who works for you, just viciously came in and dumped a cold bucket of water on my head. Would I be disciplined?"
No. I would not discipline you. I would probably laugh at them.
Who would get the maddest here? Would Sedana would probably get a little angry, but I think he'd laugh.
Yeah.
Cappy wouldn't care.
Well, but like, see, everybody, even like the sales side, the marketing side, everybody knows that we're kind of all about the bits, right? And
Right.
we like to have fun. So if that happened to somebody, yeah, somebody might be a little ticked off at first, but they're going to understand that it was probably done.
Who
for
would
the
it
pit.
be? Who would it be the hardest to do it to? Like you would feel bad about it. For me, it'd be Trish. I like her too much.
Oh, I would laugh. I think she'd laugh too.
She would.
She
but
wouldn't care.
She's such a
The
good sport, but I
hardest?
couldn't do it to her.
Yeah, who would be the toughest?
Mario for me.
Mario's
He's
such a good
so
guy.
nice.
I don't care about nice people. I'd still dump a bucket of cold water on them for $1,000. I'm pouring water on anybody for $1,000.
In this building, yes. I don't think there's any person.
Okay,
who
Okay,
how does
so
this
this-
change
this-
it?
this-
Would you do it to a total stranger?
Yes, absolutely. That makes it even easier.
Well,
Walking
you might-
down the street. Like walking down the street. Just walk up to
Bergman,
somebody
I
with a
think
bucket of water and do it.
Literally, I think if I did it to you,
Yeah.
you would just punch me. You'd be
Well, probably.
I mean, like
It'd
you
be,
would
it'd be
not-
pretty quick.
you
But then
would
I'd
be like-
ask for $500.
Well, no, but you wouldn't know. I'm not allowed to tell you yet.
Okay.
So I would just walk into your office, dump a bucket, and you'd be like, "What the hell, man?"
and then, yeah, then I'd pick you up and I'd throw you against the wall.
And in 60 seconds, I wouldn't be allowed to say anything. All I would say is, "Wait. Why am I waiting? Wait for what? Wait. 30 more seconds. Wait."
I didn't want to be wet today,
Okay,
John.
All right. So what about this? Michael did this twist on it. By the way, Michael.
I would do it to Michael in a
I
second.
feel
by
like
the way.
Michael would do it to anybody,
He
by
would-
the way, because he wants
he
the
said
money.
he would not do it to Stu or Tim. He wouldn't do it to either
Yes.
one. He said.
I actually do believe that.
Yeah, but Michael
You do it
said
to Magic.
Michael said this. He said Ireland for $1 million. Okay, now keep in mind I'm in the back of the plane. For $1 million,
Do it to a player.
would you walk up and do it to LeBron?
Oh, goodness. Okay. So
And I can't tell him. And LeBron's a businessman. I think he would appreciate it. But
I mean, $1 million is life
That's a
changing.
lot
but
of
all
money.
he has to
But not
say
that-
is LeBron says to Tim, "Hey, your guy Ireland is he's mentally off. He's dumping buckets of water on people on a plane. You got to get him out of here."
This
So
is
that
how
would be
viral
my-
TikTok crazes start.
Yeah, that would be the end of my Lakers run. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
that would be
I
it.
wouldn't do it.
I
But
don't think LeBron would do you like that.
No.
I honestly think that LeBron at first he would be like, "What the?" And then afterwards, like when he learned of the bit, I think he would be okay, and he would not ask for you
Most
to be
people would
fired.
be okay.
well, they're playing cards up
It's
there.
water, but
they're
it's
playing
only
they're playing
water.
cards up there. I would just hand LeBron a giant stack of money after the 60 seconds were up.
See, I think LeBron would be okay with it, like
I
you're
think-
saying.
yeah, I do.
think
I think
AD
LeBron would be
would
fine.
lose his mind.
No, he wouldn't. No, he's
No,
like the nicest guy on the
think-
team.
I
He's
think-
great.
I
I
think
think-
they
I
would
don't
all
think
be
he would.
fine.
Yeah, Austin Reeves, I would do it to in a heartbeat, and he would just laugh.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you do that to Patrick Beverly?
Hell no.
Oh, he would beat
He
me.
would
You know
beat
what? Eddie?
right-
He would get up right
He
away
would-
and
wouldn't
start
he go
throwing
right
fists.
for my throat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so who could on the Lakers do it to LeBron with no problem whatsoever? Like, could Pat
Hey,
Bev do it?
AD.
AD's the
AD.
only one.
Yeah. No. LeBron's a really good teammate. I think almost any teammate could do it. I think anybody below him on the employee chain probably is risking their job.
Like Wenyan Gabriel could do it too.
LeBron would be. LeBron is like. He's said this before, so I'm not telling anybody anything. He would rather make a great pass than score.
Yeah.
Like his favorite thing is seeing his teammates have
That's
fun.
why I think it's it's ironic that he's going to break Kareem's record for scoring.
Right. And
Because
he's
he
gonna
doesn't really care about scoring. I mean, he does care, but that's not what you remember him for.
Well, I'll give you an example. So, game on the line yesterday. Lakers up 2. 30 seconds left.
Yep.
Okay.
Here it is. It's right on the broadcast.
Lakers have the ball. 28.8. I was
Yeah.
close. Lakers have the ball, and they give it to LeBron at the top of the key to create. Now, back when I was covering Kobe, if that was Kobe, he would get the ball at the top of the key, read the defense, and then dribble to the point of the floor where he could get the best shot off. And normally he would make it. LeBron is all about making the best basketball play, which some people have criticized him for. They've said he needs to be more like Kobe and take those big shots at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's not LeBron. And so what he did was he dribbled to the middle of the paint, drew the whole defense to him, and kicked it to Austin Reeves. Kobe's not making that pass.
No.
Jordan's not making that pass most of the time. He did it to Steve Kerr in that one finals. But,
Yeah.
but LeBron does it instinctively. And somebody asked him after the game, did you ever think about taking the ball to the hoop yourself? He goes, no, I trust Reeves. I've seen him make that shot a bunch. And Reeves buried it. And so that's why if it was somebody on the team, I think he'd be okay with it. But if it was somebody like me that just came from the back of the no way. I would never do that. But it is tempting. Like you get, like Amanda just
Yeah.
looks at it as $1,000.
Yeah.
Um,
I look at it as ESPN senior national reporter dumps water on Star, but nope.
People would
Nope.
love you so much more, Momo. You kidding? It'd be amazing.
Yeah, but see, like for me, it's just water. Like
Yeah, but they
you're
don't know
talking-
that.
Yeah, but once it's poured on them, they know it's water. But the thing is, if it's something else, maybe I'd say no. But you're just pouring water on
Hey,
somebody.
I want to ask Sam to come
would,
in here. And
no,
make
would
that
you,
shit.
Amanda?
What?
Would you do it to Craig Karmazon, who owns the company?
Yes, absolutely.
He would love it too.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got Sam.
would-
Sam and Craig are old time radio guys. They're like on air.
Well, they love to be the butt of
right.
a joke. They
Well,
have
no,
no problem
they-
with it. They love fun.
They want to know. They want to know how it would play out for the audience.
Yeah.
So I think that they would get it. But man, if it was a public figure
it's
or
just water.
somebody,
It's just water.
I know that's what I said. But
Yeah.
still, if you dump it on somebody's head and they don't know it's coming,
Eh.
Jorge,
Absolutely. Give me the $1,000.
You would
right
do it-
now.
you would do it to
Anybody.
Sam?
Oh yeah.
Would you?
Anybody in the office.
seriously.
Yeah.
Would you do it to Tommy?
Oh yeah.
That one's even easier.
yeah, easier. Shouts out to you, Tommy.
What?
We love you.
Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma. But
I'll do it to the interns in the other room right now.
well, the
Well,
interns,
that'd just be fun.
well, and
They have a story.
except you know how that would end. They'd file some lawsuit like those Disney interns, and they'd win like
They're
$10
getting
million
paid.
dollars.
They're getting paid. They're paid interns. They're allowed to get made
All right,
fun of.
coming up next, Caleb Williams won the Heisman
Yep.
over the weekend, and he posed an interesting question that I'm going to pose to you. Mason in Ireland, Ramona in for Mace, ESPNLA. Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPN LA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play. Mason in Ireland. Ramona's in for Mace, and you probably saw that Caleb Williams, the USC quarterback, won the Heisman Trophy over the weekend. First QB to win it since Matt Leinart. He's the 8th Trojan to win it, but they don't count Reggie Bush, or you're going to read he's the 7th, but Reggie Bush did win it.
Yeah.
And it should be reinstated. So, but Caleb raised an interesting point in his acceptance speech. All 3 other finalists, so there were 4 guys there for the announcement for the trophy. C.J. Stroud, the Ohio State quarterback, Stetson Bennett, the Georgia quarterback, and Max Duggan, the TCU quarterback.
Okay.
Those are the other finalists. Listen to what Caleb said when he was accepting the Heisman.
But we've all been through this journey these past couple of days together. And I may be standing up here today, but y'all get to go to college football playoffs. Guess you can't win them all.
Okay, so it got me to thinking. Bergman, if I gave you the choice, win the Heisman Trophy or be one of 4 teams to go to the college football playoff and play for the championship, but you can't have both. You got to take one or the other. Which one are you taking?
The Heisman.
Why?
Because I'm guaranteed that and go down in history, and I get to go to the Heisman house and everything else that comes along with it. You're not guaranteed a championship by going to the playoff.
Ramona?
I think Greg's right. Heisman.
I'm surprised.
I know. I normally would say the team one, but
I can tell you one guy who would say Heisman
Caleb
for
Williams,
sure.
yeah.
No, is Mason.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I'm usually
Mason's
more
about
team-oriented.
Mason's more about individual honors than team rewards.
But
this
Greg's
for me
is
is
like,
an absolute no-brainer. I got a chance to win the national championship
Yeah.
with all my friends and my teammates.
I mean, Caleb just showed up this year. How good of friends could they be?
Right, exactly.
Like,
He's not even really a
he
Trojan.
gets to vote on the Heisman the rest of his
People are gonna
life.
hate that.
So do you. Big deal. It seems to. Jorge, am I the only one, or what would you take? Heisman or go to the playoff?
Nah, you're the only one. I'll take the Heisman.
Amanda?
Yeah.
Yeah, easy Heisman.
You people are all a bunch of selfish
Listen,
jerks.
I'm usually the team person, but
I
on
know.
this one, I don't know. I don't think the
So
college
if I
football
would have given
playoff
you a
is that
big
deal.
honor and instead of going to the College World Series with your teammates, you would have
I
taken
definitely
the
want
honor?
to go to I definitely want to go to the College World Series.
Well,
Wait a minute, it's the same thing.
No, because the big honor is just an individual honor, but the Heisman is for life. The Heisman is
yeah,
you're part
you're
of a
always
secret
known
society.
as Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, you're like invited to this thing in New York every single year. You get to vote. You're like one of the Society of Heisman. Like Gino Torretta is still welcome.
Didn't you guys listen
Every
to Herm
year in New
Edwards?
York.
You play to win
the game.
What is individual? You guys are all. I mean,
No, okay, like, so if this gets me into the College Softball Hall of Fame,
right,
and I get to go to some special College World Series every single year, then now we're talking. But if it's just an honor, no, I'll take the College World Series.
Play to win the game.
Thank you.
Where's Keyshawn? He does it better.
So if, like, I'll give you an example. If they went to Mason and said, all right, choice A, you get to keep doing the show with Ireland for another 5 years.
All right.
Choice B, you guys get blown up today, but you get a star on the Hollywood Walk
he's
of
taking the
Fame.
star.
He's taking the star. I'm taking the show.
Yeah.
Ramona, I'm shocked at you.
I know.
I
It was a
thought
hard
for
one
sure
me, actually.
you would go team before me.
Are you shocked by anybody else back here?
No.
Not.
Every once in a while.
We're all
every once
selfish
in a while, you
people.
gotta
you
lean
guys,
in.
you guys I knew were
Greg,
selfish. Ramona, I didn't know.
Hey, Greg, every once in a while, you gotta lean in.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'm not saying all the time, but for something really good, gotta lean in and be like, my time to shine.
This is that one time.
game to win.
Thank you, Keyshawn.
Wait, that was key?
Yeah.
Wow, that was good.
You play the game.
Okay, so I don't think that was the right Seinfeld.
That was a
drop I
different
just
Seinfeld
played.
here. I got you.
Thank you. All right, so I want to ask you guys about something that happened at SoFi on Thursday night.
Okay.
All right, now this is not the cleanest audio. It's basically somebody recording on their phone off of a TV.
Okay.
But let me preface this by saying, love Al Michaels. Think he's the best play-by-play guy ever to do it. I think he's got a great sense of humor. I
Yep.
think you hear his voice, you know it's a big game. Doesn't get any better now.
Mm-hmm.
I also am friends with and like Sam Lagana. Do you know what Sam does?
Tell me.
He is the Rams public
Oh, yeah.
address
Okay.
announcer. He's the
Yeah.
guy that yells, "Whose house?"
Got it.
Okay. Al does not like Whose House. Matter of fact, he hates it. And
Whose house?
Yeah, that's Sam. Okay? Now, here's Al on Thursday Night Football with Kirk Herbstreit throwing Sam under the bus.
It's hard to tell what the crowd is right now. It's, I think, mainly Raiders a little bit, but you have a PA announcer here who incessantly screams Whose House, and he wants them to say, no, I hate it. He wants to say, everybody, he wants them to say Rams House, but as far as the Raiders are concerned, well, this is kind of like their Airbnb.
Well, first of all that's
true. This is kind of like an Airbnb. That's
the Raiders,
a great line.
Ramon and I, Raider fans, we take over any stadium where we play, and then we blow the game at the end. That was a very typical Raider game.
Yeah.
But Bergman, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Who's right here? Sam Lagana for trying to fire up the fans, or Al for basically telling him to shut up?
I mean, like, I don't mind what Al said because it was funny, especially with the Airbnb line.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's what is Sam supposed to do? That's what he's supposed to do on the third downs. So
Right.
that's what he does. So it's Sam's right in this.
Yeah, Jorge?
Yeah, with Greg. Sam's right on this one.
Ramon, what do you think?
A little mixed on this one. Okay.
You would like fewer Rams houses at games?
Yeah, no, okay, so
By the way, we
USC
asked Sam to
does
come
this
on
too.
today, and he couldn't do it.
USC does this too. And this is not about Sam or anything, but
Yeah.
they play Conquest like every damn time. Right? It's like
tradition.
And so we at Stanford, when the Trojans would come visit, we would make like a drinking game out of it.
Mhm.
Right? Like when they would play Conquest, every time they would play it, like our band would keep count.
Right.
Like how many times did they play it during the game? And when you're winning, it's fine. Like play Conquest as much as you want. When you're losing and you're not having a good season and whatever, it's kind of hard to just be like, whose house? All game long.
Well, but
it's like
here's
when
the
they
thing.
play Conquest all game long and they're losing.
I mentioned earlier that going to a Laker game is an event. Going to a Clipper game is just like going to a basketball game. But Sam's job is to make the fan experience at the Ram games more fun. That's it.
But do you have to do it on every third down?
Sure, why not?
Can you pick your spots?
And by the way, I'm guessing the other night, probably Amanda, were you there?
Yes, I was.
When he was yelling Rams house, were a bunch of people yelling Raiders house? I mean, there were more Raider fans than Ram fans
I
there.
couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But
you were
was,
too high, Amanda.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, from
High-
the second
high
hand.
up,
No,
no.
The second hand smoke. I talked about this on Friday, John. The second hand
Contact high?
smoke. When we were in the broadcast booth, at one point, Travis and Greg came in and Kirk at halftime. It was as if we were lighting up in the booth. It was so bad.
It smacked me in the face.
Remember, Greg, it happened all last year at the Laker games, and they finally found the guy.
Oh, yeah. Michael was getting frustrated about
he was
that.
getting very
the other broadcasters from the other teams would come to me and go, man, I feel like I need a bag of Cheetos. What is going on here? And we figured it was a guy with a vape pen that was sitting in the suites and it was wafting down, or it was a guy sitting in front of us.
It couldn't be a vape pen because a vape pen doesn't smell like marijuana. When
But
it
couldn't be. It can't be a guy like lighting up a joint.
Well, it had to have been something because it wasn't. It can't be a vape pen. A vape pen doesn't have the stench.
Yeah, but that's interesting. So now it is like our. This is a little inside baseball, but our parking garage here. If you park in it any day of the week, I mean, people are hotboxing down there, left, right, and sideways. You get a contact eye just
I always
walking
wondered why it
from
took
your
such good
car
car
to
naps.
the elevator.
I was like, man, I have good car naps at work.
Yeah, and so I think this goes on way more than we think, and so the fact that it has made its way over to, and I guess. Would it be illegal? Technically, Amanda, it's an outdoor stadium, right? Even though it has the
yeah, it's considered an outdoor stadium.
So they're.
I don't know exactly.
Well, I don't know the legality of it, but
it would say on the ticket.
I don't know.
Probably says it on the back of your ticket.
Yeah, and you have to walk through and get scanned. I don't know how these people are getting it.
Definitely don't have the top shelf bomb sniffing dogs. They're
definitely not.
Yeah. They don't have the top
But
shelf.
it was the strongest it's ever been at any game that I've been to. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, Mason was at the game. There you go.
Yeah,
Mason was not at the game.
He didn't go.
He sold his tickets.
Oh, that's right. Because Raider fans are stupid and they'll overpay.
Yeah,
I'm one of them. I say that as a Raider fan.
Would you have paid for those seats?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because again, going back to what we were talking about before, the difference between an event and just a game. Raider games are events if you're a fan of the silver black. People dress up. It's like Halloween. The black hole's really fun. As long as you're not wearing opponent's colors, it's completely safe.
Yeah.
But Raider games are like going to a haunted house. It's really, really fun. And then, like I said, the Raiders will play well enough to stay in the game and then do something stupid at the end to give it away. By the way, I was texting with Greg over the weekend. I don't know. I love Derek Carr. Always have.
I know.
He threw that interception in the end zone. I know he got hit in the arm. You can't throw that pass.
No.
You can't. I think Derek may have played his way out of Las Vegas. I don't know if they don't make the playoffs, and that loss probably keeps them out of it. And again, I like him. I like Derek Carr. I don't know if they can go back to him. What do you think?
I don't either. I think we've heard, I forget, I'm trying to remember where this story came from, but there was a story about Tom Brady going to the Raiders. There was a story about Aaron Rodgers going to the Raiders.
Yeah, remember Dana White said he had it done.
Yeah, there it was. Dana White. There's going to be some interesting quarterbacks available this summer.
Well, and there's talk that Brady could go to.
Right.
You saw my guy Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. I host the Mr. Irrelevant banquet every year for my friend Melanie. Melanie Salata Fitch.
He looked good.
And he was the guy last year.
He might be an upgrade on Jimmy G.
He looked great, and that just goes to show you Kyle Shanahan knows what he's doing.
You know, it's interesting. This week was when you look at the NFL. There was to me the Chargers game against the Dolphins was pretty eye opening. Tua's had a great year. The Dolphins have had a great year comparatively, and those two quarterbacks are always going to be compared to each other because it was the same draft, right? Tua goes right before Justin Herbert,
right?
And there was a sense like, maybe we had it wrong on Tua. Maybe he's really good. Maybe he just needed more weapons around him or a better coach. And then you see him head to head against Justin Herbert, and it was like, oh no, Justin Herbert's much better.
I don't know if that's true.
Oh yeah,
I think Justin Herbert.
I think he's much better.
I put my whole fantasy season on Justin Herbert this year, and he got hurt in week 2 in the rib cartilage.
Yeah, and they have no line right now.
Right.
And they don't
so
have
I can't tell how much of the Chargers' disappointing season is on him. He's a great player, but I really thought he was going to be Patrick Mahomes good this year. I don't want to kill him because he was hurt.
I think it's an organizational failure around him rather than him. But he looked. I mean, it's just like it's night and day. I mean, if he was on the Dolphins and he had the Mike McDaniel as the coach
and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and
I mean, it'd be lights out.
Yeah. Hey, you and I go to a lot of press conferences, interview a lot of coaches. Is it ever okay for a coach to throw his players under the bus? We'll get into that coming up next. And also, a new way to answer any tough question that I think I might steal. I'm going to throw that at you next. Bergman's coming up later this hour with Bobcat. We got Game of Games today. It's my game. We got a lot of stuff going on. Mason in Ireland, Momo in for Mace, ESPNLA.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play.
Angeles. The podcast, that is.
Mason and Ireland, the #1 most downloaded sports podcast in Los Angeles. The #1 most downloaded sports podcast in Los Angeles, and we thank all of our podcast listeners for that.
If you ever miss a moment, get your fill anytime. Just search Mason and Ireland wherever you get your podcast.
All right, Mason and Ireland, Momo's here. And I mentioned before the break that you and I attend a lot of coaches' press conferences, and a lot of these are coach speak. Is it ever okay, in your opinion, for the coach to throw the players under the bus, even if they played bad? Do you think that's a good move or a bad move?
I generally don't do it, but I think there are times when it's warranted, and it depends on who the coach is.
Okay, this coach is Brad Underwood, the basketball coach at Illinois. First I'm going to play, he was asked, they lost a game to Penn State after they had upset the #2 team in the country the game before that. And Brad Underwood left no one unscathed here. This is about 30 seconds about what happened to Illinois against Penn State. Here he is.
We played very, very uninspired basketball from the second we landed from Madison Square Garden until now. We have been atrocious in practice. Maybe the 2 worst days of practice leading up to a game I've been a part of, and that's leadership. That's leadership. Plain and simple leadership. Put it in bold damn print. Leadership. Lack of. And no effort. That's what happens when you, in this league, when you have none of that.
All right, so I have several thoughts about this. Number one, brutally honest, obviously. Number two, isn't leadership on the coach?
Yeah, kind of. Like, generally speaking, you have to have good leaders amongst your players. You can't have it all as a coach. But if they don't like the coach, they're probably not going to play for you.
Right.
That's when you get the lack of effort.
Now, after he said that, right, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Bergman, were you okay with that rant, or does that? I think the coach implicated himself.
No, I have no problem with that. Mick Cronin did that earlier this year when Illinois which is Brad Underwood's team, Illinois and Baylor beat UCLA in Vegas.
That tournament.
He went into the locker room and started screaming at him and cursing at all the players.
Wow.
And they've been better since. Like, that's just part of college basketball. I have no problem
Now,
with that.
I think there's a better way to handle these situations. And Brad Underwood was given this opportunity, and I'm thinking about stealing it, and I want your opinion of whether I could pull it off.
Okay.
After he did that rant, one of the reporters asked him about a certain player whose leadership he had been praising 2 weeks ago. So, well, what about Shelburne? 2 weeks ago, you were saying that he's got great leadership skills. What happens? So he chooses whether to elaborate. He simply chooses to answer with a fart noise. Listen to this.
What?
It's fantastic.
Brady talked a lot about TJ's leadership since he's gotten here.
All right.
Oh, my God.
Now, Bergman.
Yeah.
I want you to
Come on, Brad.
I want you to pretend I'm a coach.
Wow.
All right?
Okay.
My team just lost. I come in. Any questions? Greg.
What do you think of the leadership of your team right now?
What kind of how do you feel about Steve Mason as your co-host?
Is Jorge doing an okay job on the board right now?
How about Greg as the producer?
What do you think about Amanda as the boss right now?
Oh, and when Momo comes in on the radio?
Would that not
If he did like an arm fart, would that be better?
Would that not be the most entertaining press conference of all time? And there's really nothing it's
You
not
are turning
appropriate
bright
for.
red right
It's
now, by
so-
the way. If you're
it's
not
'cause-
watching on the live stream, this is great. John Ireland is like beat red right
I
now.
know. It's
You enjoyed that a lot.
no, it's because it when you make the fart noise, everything it takes effort.
We have to clean that mic flag.
There isn't one. That's even worse. But I think, is there not a circumstance where that would not be perfect? Like anything. You went for it on 4th and 1. Why?
You think you could get Coach McVay to do that at some point? On
Oh.
Wednesday?
I'll play this. Jorge, leave this in the system. And, off a
McVay.
win. They won.
Yeah, they won.
So he
with
might.
a big thing on
He
Baker.
might go with you on it.
Yeah, he might. I may bring it up.
What do you think of the Raiders' defense on that last play?
You can do the fart noise without, like, contorting yourself like this?
No, that's
What
not
are
as
you
good.
doing with your
It's more
tongue?
fun.
No, you do it. No,
No,
you're
that's
just
a horse.
Yeah, you're just making you sound like Mr. Ed. This gives it more of an authentic fart sound. Bergman, I'll ask
I
you a
don't know if
question.
this is a high point or a
Bergman,
low
what'd you
part
think
in my
of,
career.
what'd you think of Friday's show?
Yeah, by the way, how was that show with Mason and Cappy, Greg?
Oh, it was actually a lot of fun. But
Yeah?
for the bit,
Nah. No, if they asked me my opinion of that show, and I didn't even hear it. Jorge, what do you think about working here? Yeah. It can answer any question. Can it not?
It's not exactly dignified.
Yeah, but
Dignified.
we're working sports.
right.
I mean, an hour ago we were talking about dunking a bucket of water in the GM's head.
That's true.
I mean, it's not like we work. I try and explain to people. We work in the toy store
Yeah.
of life. It's like a sports bar without the liquor. And in the case of our station, sometimes there is liquor.
You know, I do think it's interesting. That is that who would you throw water on?
Yeah.
It's a good question because it shows how people carry themselves, and I think the general thing is, could they take a joke, right? Like,
well, but they don't know it's a joke. That's what makes it complicated.
Right.
It's an assault, technically.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
would you do that to
Right.
Woj?
no.
Would you do
I don't know.
that?
I don't know him well enough.
Would you? I know. Would you do that?
Would you do it to Woj?
Would you do it to Woj?
Nope.
Okay.
Hell no.
And you know him better than anybody.
You know who I would do it to, and she'd like be furious with me. But when she
Yeah.
got the whole thing, is Beetle.
Yeah, you could do it to Beetle.
She'd be mad.
Yeah, she'd
You
be
know, she'd be mad, and then she would negotiate for more of the money.
Yeah.
But once
But
I
like, it's
explained
kind
it
of
to her,
are you scared of that person a little bit?
Right.
Right. There's people who I would do that to. Kendrick Perkins. Perk would think it was funny eventually.
man, if I did that to Perk, he'd beat my ass.
Yeah, I could do it to Perk.
You and Amanda can get away with some things that we can't get away with.
I don't think I would. I could do it to Shanae. I don't think I could do that to Malika. No way.
So wait, Amanda, would you
All right, the
do
funny
it to
thing
Woj
is, the funny thing is, I
for
don't-
$1,000? You don't know him.
Yeah.
Woj is a very serious human being.
Yeah.
Would you do it to Woj?
No.
No, we found a
we
no.
found one.
We
Well, that was
found a
honest.
no.
No, but that was
Yeah.
honest. She
Yeah.
doesn't. And Amanda, the whole reason is you don't know him well enough, right?
Yeah, I feel like I would at least have to have some kind of a relationship. Like we would have to know each other for me to do that.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Yeah.
See, I think we could do it to McVay. I think he would get it
You think you
Depends
could
on
throw
what's
a
going
bucket
on.
of water on McVay?
after a win. Yeah, not after a loss.
Well, but coaches get they get Gatorade tossed on them. They don't
Yeah.
care.
You know what? I will ask him that on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We were playing a dumb game. If I just walked up to you and dumped a bucket of water on your head for $1,000, and I can't tell you why, would you punch me?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think he would.
No, I don't think he would. But are you going to also
Aaron
ask
Donald
him about
would.
the farting? or
Would you do it? Would you do it for $1 million to Aaron Donald?
$1 million is different.
He'd kill you.
He would beat your butt.
Yeah, it would be the
You would
end
be a
of you.
pancake on the floor.
Oh,
$1 million? I'd do it and run away really fast.
Yeah, he's faster than you.
Yeah, he's faster than
Yeah,
like
he might
wide
be.
receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. But I think this guy Brad Underwood is onto something with this fart noise. I seriously do. I mean, you can't answer any question, no matter, especially if it's like a really difficult question.
Okay, hold
like
on.
you guys gave up an 18-0 run to start the second half, and you never recovered. What happened? We stunk.
So this is what we got to do.
And by the way, that would get played all over the place.
So for crosstalk today,
Yeah.
everything that Sedano or Cappy ask you, you should answer with a fart noise.
Okay, I will, at least for a few minutes. I will.
Yes, for a few minutes. Okay.
Until they catch on and realize it.
Like, what are you doing?
Cap will just start doing it with me.
He probably
Yeah.
would in the megaphone.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be. I mean, I think that if somebody adopts that, they would be onto something. All right. Hey, why aren't the Dodgers doing anything? There is a theory going on out there that actually makes some sense. I don't know if I love it, but I'll give you a theory as to why the Dodgers haven't done squat in free agency. Bobcat coming up after that. Still to go game of games later today. Momo in for Mace. All sorts of stuff going on. ESPNLA.
Hey, is your
Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play.
Cap. Mason and Ireland continues now.
Mason had a story last week that Mariah Carey makes like millions of dollars a year every time this song gets played. Yeah, good for her.
Do you listen to the show when you're on the road? Listen to the podcast, or it's like you're
only
gone?
No. It's like I'm gone, except that when I get to an arena in time to play Game of Games, I'll catch a segment or two.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I like to play Game of Games because I'm insanely competitive. But there
was one I designed that we thought you were going to be excellent at.
Okay. So I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Everybody weigh in. Jorge, weigh in on this. Amanda, you too. All right. If we picked a random day, like we had a dartboard with 30 days on it, and we just throw a dart at the board and it lands on a certain day. Okay. So it can't be prearranged. We play Game of Games, mano a mano, me against Mason, okay? And here's the rub. Yeah, here's the rub. Mason can Google.
Oh.
I can't. Who wins?
Well, is it name is your buzzer?
I don't know. It's a random day. You know?
What's on the line? Are you getting a point spread here?
No, I'm just saying who would win. I'm curious.
I say you simply because even with Googling, Mason is a pecker.
Yeah.
And it takes him too long to put stuff into Google.
I also think you would win because I think you know it, and you're faster without the internet. You don't need it.
I could answer it before.
Yeah.
Greg, who would win?
Yeah, if it's name is your buzzer, you're going to win because it's going to take
too
long.
Yeah, but multiple choice he might.
If it's multiple choice and it kind of goes back and forth, I think he'll win. Are you giving him time? Then I think he'll win.
Jorge, who wins?
No chance. You win it all.
Even if he can Google and I can't.
Google, you win it.
Huh. All right. I'll ask him that when I get back. When he gets
you
back.
versus me, straight up.
No, you would beat me. But you and I are the only real fair fight. You know, what this is going to work out to, depending on whether or not you win the month, is I'm going to win 6 months out of the year. You're going to win 5, and Sedano's going to win 1. That's how it's going to work.
That's how it's going to work.
Yeah. Sedano kept you from tying me.
Oh, it's true.
But
it's true.
Yeah, but you are Greg. In putting it in parlance of what's going to happen tomorrow night, you and I are the Lakers and Celtics.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like the Thunder.
That makes total sense.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and Mason is like a G League team.
He's the Ignite.
Yeah, it's not even a G League team. He's the Ignite. All right, hey, I want to ask you guys about the Dodgers. So they've been incredibly quiet in free agency. They haven't signed anybody. We keep hearing these rumors. They're in on so-and-so. They're in on so-and-so. They're in on Aaron Judge. They're in on Trey Turner. Aaron Judge signs with the Yankees. Trey Turner signs with the Phillies, blah, blah, blah. So Dylan Hernandez, who covers the Dodgers for the LA Times, had a column over the weekend suggesting that the reason the Dodgers aren't doing anything is because next year Shohei Ohtani is a free agent. Greg, you're a Dodger fan. Would you be okay with them doing nothing? They don't sign anybody else rest of this year. So Gavin Lux is the shortstop. Trace Thompson's the center fielder. And we're going to bat. That's how we replace Bellinger and Turner, and we're going for it. All right?
Mm-hmm.
For a whole year.
Yep.
But then they can make the biggest offer to Ohtani at the start of next season. Is that a trade-off you'd be willing to make as a Dodger fan?
Can I make trades at the end of August?
Yeah, but you can't bring on a lot of money. You can't take on a Mookie Betts trade or
Sure, just I can fix my bullpen. I can add an extra little small bat.
Business as usual, but you can't go out and get a $400 million player.
1,000% yes, and it's not even close. I would
even if it means you don't make the playoffs this year. And I'm not saying they wouldn't. They're only losing 2 guys.
That's my thing. I think they actually could still make the playoffs. I think we just forget sometimes that this team is still really, really good with a lot of great players on it, including Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman.
Momo, would you think most Dodger fans would be okay with that?
They will not be okay with it, but they should be. And I actually think Dylan is right. I do think that they are sitting out unless something remarkable comes along this year so that they can make a run at Shohei. I really think Dylan's onto that. I don't think that's just a theory.
Now, here's something that I don't get. I grew up in Orange County. My mom's a giant Angels fan. I grew up an Angels fan. Why wouldn't the Angels make the biggest offer to Ohtani? And if they do, would he take it?
See, that's the question.
Because he says he wants to win. They're not going to win next year.
They're not going to win. And they're already selling the team. Artie Moreno's selling the team.
So that may prohibit them from making a big offer.
And the new owner, Rob Manfred said
probably before
recently,
the opening day, they said they'd have
so
the new
if you're
owner.
the new owner of the Angels, your first order of business needs to be to make the Godfather offer to Ohtani. And if you won't take $500 million, then you say, okay, will you take 1 year for 80? Can you just give us a year to prove this to you, and we won't lock you?
Wow, what if? I don't think they would offer that much, but what if they did? 1 year, 80.
Why not?
But why would that even
million
keep him?
Why not?
But why would that even keep him? I understand it's $80 million, but
you're
asking him if another team offers him $450 million, why would? Yeah,
right. Well, it's at the same time. It's also because this team, the Angels, are not going to be all of a sudden fixed next year or in 2 years. It's going to take 5 years, 6 years for them to be fully fixed to where they're going to be a staple in the playoffs. If even there, they still don't even have the pitching. So, like, why would you stick in a team like that right in your prime at 28 years old? Why would you stick there?
All right, tell me if I'm being a prisoner of the moment here. Okay, I can take it. I think Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player I've ever seen.
Well, he does 2 things.
But I mean, I've just never seen anything like him. I'm
not willing to go that far because I saw Mike Trout in his rookie year, and I know that he doesn't pitch. Also,
right.
Mike was amazing.
I'm not taking away anything.
Early years, Mike Trout is like,
hey,
amazing.
I love Mookie Betts.
Yeah,
I loved Ken Griffey Jr. But before this, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Griffey probably was the best baseball player I've ever seen in person. Like I'm throwing Bonds out because of the performance enhancing drugs, but in terms of somebody that did everything, Griffey was probably it. I don't even know how to categorize Ohtani.
I know.
Ohtani can win the Cy Young 1 year and the MVP, and not because of being the pitching. Like I don't know, Clayton Kershaw won the MVP and the Cy Young. It's different. He would win the MVP for his batting and the Cy Young for his pitching. He's that good.
John, I think he is. I don't know if I would say he's the best baseball player I've ever seen, but I would certainly say he's the most valuable player in baseball, and it's not even close.
I got some friends
because of how good he is at both things.
I got some friends that work for the Angels.
Yeah.
One of them told me he might be the fastest player on that team.
Wow.
That in terms of what's his weakness? He doesn't have one. He's a good fielder. He's a great pitcher. He hits for power. He hits for average. He runs the bases great. I guess, Greg, if you wanted to nitpick, you could say injuries.
Injury prone a little bit, not very much. I mean, he was great last year, but he does get injured. And
so what's that contract look like? If Mike Trout got $440 million, what's Ohtani get? Is he getting $500?
He's getting $500 easy, without question. If that's on the low end. Wow. Eventually he's gonna, because what's gonna happen is eventually he's gonna have to pick one. It's gonna be either pitching or hitting.
But not yet.
Not yet. I mean, and most likely he'll get rid of the pitching so he can stick with the hitting because
then he gets to play every day.
Arm. Yeah.
Or
he plays every day anyway.
I mean, can you imagine if they turned
DH?
Can you imagine if they turned him into a closer? So he would pitch and hit in almost every game.
Wow.
I mean that
maybe in the middle at the end of his career, like a John Smoltz kind of thing.
Yeah. It'd be or Dennis Eckersley. You know, Dennis Eckersley was a starter for a lot of years. So was Smoltz.
Yeah.
Smoltz was a starter for a lot of years. And here's the other thing about Ohtani. The Dodgers have shown that if they can get a star attraction, people will flock to the stadium. I mean, look at Fernando Mania. Look at Nomo. Remember when they had Manny Wood?
Yeah, Puig.
For whatever reason, that doesn't happen with the Angels.
Yeah.
You know, they don't sell out every game, even though they have Ohtani and Trout. And the Angels could misplay this, by the way. If I were them, Ohtani's going to play for them this year. If he wouldn't commit to me, I have to trade him. I don't want to let Shohei Ohtani walk away for nothing.
I would, if I'm the new owner, I do whatever it takes to keep him. I'd just make him the Godfather offer.
Yeah, but don't the Angels have to trade him?
If you make a Godfather offer and he turns it down, then I think you have to trade him.
Yeah. And what Ramona means is pay him the proverbial offer you can't refuse.
Make him an offer you can't refuse.
Right, which is a very famous scene from The Godfather. In other words, you say to Shohei, what do you want? And he says $500 million.
No, he doesn't say 500. He says $1 billion.
No, he says $500 million, and you say, I'll give you $600 million if you sign right now.
Yeah.
And then Ohtani is, if he says no, I think you have to trade him. Because think about what you could, Greg, don't you? You want to be a baseball GM in your dreams?
Dreams.
If you're the Angels GM, if you're Perry Manazian, and you make him an unbelievable offer, and he says, I just want to try free agency, I'm sorry. Don't you have to move him?
You have to move him. I was arguing during the trading deadline last year that he should have been moved. You could have gotten much more from him. Then you're going to start losing the amount that you're going to get for him.
That's true.
And then if you wait until the trade deadline this year, it's going to even drop even more because people are going to think he's either going to be a rental or that you can just sign him in the offseason.
Ramona, you would do the Godfather offer now, like as soon as you buy the team.
100%.
Because Rob Manfred let it out. I don't know if he was supposed to, but he let it out that he thinks the Angels are going to have a new owner by opening day, which means they're way down the road with somebody. Nobody's reported who it is, but it takes 2 years to approve a baseball owner. So somebody has already been approved, and somebody is close to buying the Angels. We just don't know who it is. And so, Mama, once you get control of the team, you immediately sit down with Ohtani's agent and just say, all right.
It's job one. Because you got to get it. You have to make that Godfather offer.
Because they've kind of waited
too long.
To Greg's point, they've kind of waited too long on Trout. Okay, we love Trout.
Yep.
Who doesn't? But look how many games he's missed the last 2 years. If you would have traded Mike Trout 4 years ago, you could have gotten the Herschel Walker trade. You know, the everybody and their mother. But now, with his injuries, I'm not necessarily sure you get that. You can get a lot more for Ohtani than you can for Trout.
Yeah.
But the Angels could misplay this, and I think the biggest way they could misplay it is they make Ohtani that offer, Ramona, you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He says no, and they said, well, we can't trade Ohtani. He's our star attraction. Then he walks at the end of the year, and you get, 2 conditional draft picks or something?
Yeah, they ain't doing anything for you.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. So if the Dodgers are sitting this free agency out with the long-term goal of bringing Ohtani to Dodger Stadium next year, that makes some sense. And I'm with you, Greg. I think as a Dodger fan, I would welcome it. If we have 1 year where we are okay, but next year I know the reward at the end is Ohtani, do it.
The only problem with this plan is that they are not the only team with this plan.
So you think another team could outbid them? But the Dodgers have the deepest pockets, and
I don't know. Do they?
Well, here's Mets.
I mean, Steve Cohen, Yankees.
Well, here's where
Padres seem to be willing to spend for whatever.
Here's where this gets tricky, and I'll let you guys in on kind of a little financial thing that people that work in pro sports have to deal with. So I do games in 28 different cities. I pay taxes in all of those states. Okay? So in other words, if I do a game in New York, I have to file a tax return in New York for that one game because I performed
You actually
services.
do that.
I am I'm the favorite client of my CPA.
Of course.
Because I got to pay him a lot. Everybody is. Michael, Stu, Billy, all of us. So if you're a pro baseball player and you're making $500 million, there's no state tax in Florida. There's no state tax in Texas. The highest states that in terms of tax are California and New York.
Yeah.
So if you sign with the Dodgers, you're leaving a lot of money on the table if the Astros or the Rangers have the same exact offer. In other words, if the Astros offer you $500 million and the Dodgers offer you $500 million, by the time the taxes get involved, it's not as black and white as every game, but 81 of your games minimum are going to be in California, and then anytime you play the Padres, the Giants, the A's, or the Angels, you get taxed in California. So it's a little complicated, but it's a real concern for these athletes that they can make a lot more money in states that don't have state tax. So I think to your point, that plays into Ohtani. The Dodgers might make him, and the Angels might make him the proverbial offer you can't refuse, but he may have Japanese pencil pushers sitting there going, okay, if we play in Florida, if we play in Texas, we can make $60 million more. And that, to me, would be worth it. So that plays into the equation, too.
Well, shouldn't money not play into it, though? Because if he's going to give away the Godfather offer that you're talking about in this scenario, then the money's really not the issue. It's about winning, and you're going to get that winning.
But wait a minute.
But I understand with the Astros.
You could win you could win with the Mets or the Yankees.
You can.
And you can win with the Dodgers. You can win with the Astros. You can win with the Rangers.
You're going to get a consistency of winning with the Dodgers right now. I think that's what they have.
That's true. All right. Bergman's going to come back with some Bobcat. We'll get into that. And at the top of the hour, there's a dilemma I have as a play-by-play guy, and I want you guys to help me through it. We'll get into that at 3 o'clock. Bobcat next. First, let me tell you about Estrella Jalisco. Coverage of the World Cup on ESPNLA is presented by Estrella Jalisco. Stay tuned every night. Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play.
segment. But first, have you followed Corporate Greg at his new Instagram?
Corporate Greg.
That's right. The other one got hacked. So the new one is corporate_Greg. Follow now, follow often.
Corporate Greg.
But now it is time for that Bobcat.
Bobcat.
It's time for Bobcat.
Bobcat.
Bobcat time. Take it away, Corporate Greg.
Corporate Greg.
Thanks, Chris and Amanda. All right, so Jalen Hurts was outstanding again yesterday. He's now on the season, has over 3,000 yards passing, 22 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. He has just under 700 rushing yards and 10 rushing TDs. Is there anyone even close to him for MVP this year for the NFL?
Mahomes. Look at Mahomes.
But I mean, like with a one-loss team for Philadelphia.
Well, right now, if the season ended, Jalen Hurts would win the MVP. But you're asking if anyone's
who's
close.
any close?
So
yeah.
I'm predicting the MVP voting, if the season ended today, would be Hurts as the winner.
Yeah.
Mahomes second, and then everybody else way below that. Now,
he has 11 interceptions, Mahomes, by the way.
Right, but how many TD passes does he have?
33.
Yeah.
And over 4,000 yards.
Yeah. He's just a fantastic quarterback.
I mean, who are the other ones? Dallas is having a good year, but it wouldn't be anyone
well,
on
that's
Dallas.
where I was just going.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If this is a big if Jalen Hurts got hurt, God forbid, or cratered, I would seriously consider, depending on how they finish the season, voting for Micah Parsons as league MVP. That Dallas defense is sick.
That's
and
interesting.
He is the main reason why. I don't think he has any chance of winning it. As a matter of fact, I don't think he'll finish in the top 5. But one year, someday, a defensive player is going to win it, and I think
that's interesting.
This could be the type of year where a guy could filter to the top. But to answer your question, Greg, Jalen Hurts is the MVP. And by the way, you talk about a guy who has never really been given his due.
Yeah.
So he goes to Alabama, and his record was something like 28-1, and they bench him for Tua.
Yeah.
So he leaves. He transfers. He goes to Oklahoma, and he finishes second in the Heisman Trophy race. Not first, but second.
Behind Tua, right? Or
no,
behind
Tua
who?
didn't win it.
Baker?
No, because he was a quarterback at Oklahoma.
Burrow?
Could be. I think
Might
it
have
was
been Burrow.
Burrow.
Yeah.
That sounds
Okay.
right. So I'm thinking that when Jalen Hurts gets drafted in the NFL, he gets drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round, everybody said, well, he can back up Carson Wentz. Because remember, Carson Wentz had that big contract to be the Eagles quarterback?
Yeah.
So he ascends. They get rid of Carson Wentz. He ascends to the top. Everybody says, well, he's a one-year stopgap. That was last year. Plays great. Now this year, he plays great again. I don't know. This guy might be the most underrated quarterback in NFL history. He's doing everything right, and people keep looking for reasons to push him out the back door.
He's an example of somebody who has really gotten better. Like he was really good in college, but he had holes in his game, and there's a reason why they replaced him with Tua, and why the offense really started humming at Alabama in a different way than when Tua was there. Because Tua is more of a great passer, and he has the touch on the ball, and he's deep. But now Jalen has continued to work on his body, work on his skills, work on everything, and I don't think is there anybody who would take Tua over Jalen Hurts now?
No,
probably not.
No, I would take.
That's
I would
saying
take
something.
I think Mahomes, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's kind of fallen off a little bit.
Maybe Herbert.
Joe Burrow could win.
Would you take Burrow or Hurts moving forward, Greg?
Oof. After the way that Hurts is playing,
I'd go
I don't know.
Burrow.
Burrow went to the Super Bowl last year. Kind of got to go with
That's
Burrow.
right.
He delivered when it came.
I think Mahomes for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's a once-in-a-generation player. Josh Allen, because he has a cannon.
Yep.
He's a beast, too. He just runs over people.
Yeah, I wouldn't take – would you take Lamar Jackson before Jalen Hurts?
No, I'd probably take Hurts.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think Hurts is 3 or 4. Burrow is another tough one. Justin Herbert or Hurts, Greg?
Herbert.
Yeah, probably Herbert.
Right, so, yeah, he's got – but he is going to win the MVP.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Bobcat.
All right, so Riley lost a tooth as soon as we got to school today.
Riley is Greg's 10-year-old daughter?
11.
11
She
now.
just
Okay.
turned 11, yeah.
Happy birthday, Riley.
Thank you. But she told me that the tooth fairy brings some of her friends $20 a tooth. That's insane.
Wow.
The Bergman family tooth fairy has always been $1 a tooth. Shouldn't
You cheap bastard.
It's not. It's
cheap
just
fairy,
a tooth
yeah.
fairy. I don't know.
Jeez,
It's what I got when I was a kid. That's what they got. I don't know
Dude,
what
what
you
about
want to say.
inflation? How long ago were you
Either
a
way,
kid?
either way, shouldn't there be a tooth fairy convention where they choose the same number for every tooth?
Well, not if the number is $1, because you are
Well,
the
no.
worst tooth
It's a part.
fairy
It's
of
a
all
part.
time.
It's a convention. You can
The
choose.
Bergman family tooth fairy needs to catch up with the 2020s.
Yeah,
you know?
seriously.
Hey, Bergman family doesn't have
I think
a lot to
5
give away.
sounds like the right number. 5.
I would go 10,
tooth?
5 or
Per
10.
tooth?
Anything that involves a $1 bill is too low.
It's not. It's,
Jorge,
it's the
what does
Ireland
my take
family.
We're still debating. We're still talking to the convention. We're trying to
Has
figure out a number.
has the tooth fairy had to show up
No,
yet?
not yet. No.
Okay.
No, it's too early.
What did the Ireland family tooth fairy bring to Jack?
Hundies.
Hundies?
What?
What?
Get the hell out of
No.
He's not lying either.
Yeah, I'm
Dang.
I'm
John
totally.
making it rain,
I
man.
want to be in your family.
here. It wasn't one. It was a Hundies.
man.
There was multiple of them.
I'm totally kidding. I do think I gave him 5 though.
Yeah.
5 honeys?
No, you did not. It was the tooth fairy, John.
Oh
It was
yeah,
the tooth fairy.
Tooth fairy. Thank you.
John leaned into that one. He did.
Yeah,
Sold
Daniel.
it.
Daniel hasn't had to
No,
meet the
no,
tooth
no.
fairy
Too
yet.
young. He's only 4.
When did they start losing them?
He's wild, isn't it?
Greg, how old? When Riley lost her first
God,
tooth?
6,
probably
7?
5, 6, 7. Yeah, somewhere right around there. I don't remember anymore.
Lose your baby teeth.
Yeah.
I like how he said honeys and he rested his arm on the back
Yeah.
rest of the
Yeah,
chair.
At our house, honeys,
yeah.
diamonds, a lot of stuff.
Bobcat.
Jorge.
Okay, so I had an interesting conversation with my 16-year-old brother, and he has the PS5 going. He's got
Okay.
a laptop going, and he's got a cell phone going. I'm like, dude, don't you go outside for some fun or anything?
So he's got them all going at the same time.
At the
He's-
same time.
He's Mike Trudell.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm like, don't you have like fun outside of your room? And he's like, no. Like, what kind of stuff did you do when you were growing up? I'm like, before the internet, and I listed a bunch of things. What do you remember that was fun before the internet?
All right. Here's something that I can't believe. Like if Daniel was doing this when you get home, you would be horrified.
Yeah.
Did you guys have big wheels when you were a little kid?
Oh,
I always
Heck
wanted
yeah.
one. They
Oh,
couldn't give it to me.
yeah.
And I lived in a development that had a hill, and we would gun those things down the hill. I don't know how we didn't get killed, and I don't know how our parents let him do it. But he's too old for a big
He
wheel,
is.
16. But did he ever have a skateboard?
He had a bike and a scooter and whatnot. But
What were some of the things on the list you gave him?
I told him, like, after school you go to your friend's house.
Or, yeah, go play soccer or
exactly.
something.
Go,
Yeah.
Go
shoot
to
ball.
ding
go shoot
dong
hoops.
ditch.
Yeah, exactly.
Tag, kick the can.
Yeah. Hide and
These are
seek.
all
Capture the flag.
These are all
Yes.
sound choices that
Yes.
Amanda is providing. Okay, so
What did we do before we had
the
internet?
big wheel was one thing. We used to play baseball, and we used to play sports in the street.
Yeah, we
all
played
the time.
two-hand touch all the time in the
Exactly.
street.
Yeah.
I think I had like soccer practice or softball practice like almost every day. I feel like I did that all the time.
Okay.
I did
yeah,
watch
sports.
cartoons.
Do kids just go down to the pickup truck and do a square out and throw me the ball? I mean, we used to
I would
play.
go to the park a lot and play basketball.
Yeah.
I would. We had a park nearby. I'd dribble there, dribble the ball there. I remember that was a thing for me.
So the test for your brother Jorge
Huh.
is what would happen if you went cold turkey on the electronics for a day? What would he do then?
Oh, who knows?
Go
nuts.
Yeah. Well, do you think your parents would go for it, or they don't?
Oh,
want
yeah, for sure. They want him out of the room. Like, dude,
Yeah,
go do
yeah.
something.
So do that. Just say,
Go
okay,
get
we're
in
gonna
trouble.
pick
Go
yeah,
break a
we're-
window.
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna pick a day. We're gonna pick a day in January where it's a no electronics day. You just start preparing for it and see if he'll do it.
Yeah, we'll try
What
that.
the hell?
We'll see what's up.
Bobcat.
All right, this is my question.
I like it.
So, on the way to work this morning, it wasn't really raining, but it had rained. And I'm driving down La Cienega, and this guy's a couple cars in front of me, and we're not going at a very fast pace. And all of a sudden, he gets all squirrely, and then he goes up the side, like there's like cement,
He
up
jumped
the
the
side,
divider. Yeah.
and like went up, and then like spun around. And in that moment, I'm like, everybody kind of stopped, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I do? Should I get out and see? Like, I mean,
See if
what
he was
would you guys have
injured
done?
or
Well, he got out of the car. I stopped, right? And I waited for him to open the car door and get out, and I could see his airbag had gone off. But he got out of the car. But for me, it was very odd because it wasn't raining. There was no hydroplaning. There was no nothing. It's as if he was literally driving and then just got squirrely all of a sudden out of nowhere.
maybe he had a seizure.
And so then I was like, okay, seizure, or was he on something? I don't know. I don't know. What would you guys have done?
As long as you saw him get out of the car, I think you're fine.
I did kind of feel bad afterwards.
Well, the other thing you could do, Amanda, is just call it in. Call 911 and say, hey, I just saw a guy's airbag go off. Here's the address. Because there's nothing you could do to provide medical assistance.
Yeah, and it was one car. It wasn't
I
like
called it in.
Yeah, it wasn't an accident with like multiple cars or anything. It was literally one guy.
Would it have been dangerous for you to stop? Probably, right?
Well, and also that's kind of what I felt, right? It was on La Cienega, and because he was up on the side, if I stopped, I would have had to stop in the middle of a lane.
Right, it's dangerous.
And so I kind of was like...
Yeah, and you don't know what is going on with him
I don't
at that
either.
point.
That's kind of, as a single woman, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. The only thing I would have done that you didn't do is call it in.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should beat yourself up.
I guess I didn't think about that in the moment. Like, I should probably call 911.
But other than that, I don't think you have a huge responsibility. But I do kind of wonder what happened to that guy.
I do. It was really odd.
Because people do. That happens. Like if people have a heart episode or they have a seizure when they're driving, it can be really bad. But, just next time, just call it in.
Bobcat.
Bergman, is that it?
Yep, that'll do it.
Okay, coming up next, as a play-by-play guy, I have a dilemma. And I want you guys to help me solve it. I'll explain coming up. Mason in Ireland, Momo in for May. Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play.
Los Angeles sports.
And it is the biggest show on the radio. Mason and Ireland is on.
I don't know where these sounds are coming from. Everybody's on my nerves today. Everybody's on my nerves.
Are you going to sit there and just take it?
Let's get to it. Your Wednesday afternoon. Mason and Ireland right now.
Today it's Momo in Ireland.
3 o'clock. Come on.
I never do a 3 o'clock.
I
The Mace is on vacation this
just
week,
me.
so Momo's in for most of this week, and then I think Andy's going to come in and do some shows at the end of the week. But all right, so I'm going to come clean with you guys about a dilemma that all play-by-play guys have. So I work for the Lakers. I'm the Lakers play-by-play guy. I don't know how enthusiastic I should get or what level of energy I should use if the other team hits a game winner. Okay? If we hit a game winner, I'm good with it. But if the other team hits a game winner, that's an exciting play, but it just beat my team. So this exact scenario played out over the weekend. Denver is playing Portland. And Jamal Murray for Denver won the game at the buzzer on a three. Or like there's maybe half a second left. So here is the Denver call. This is our buddy Chris Marlowe, the old volleyball player.
Yep.
Chris Marlowe and Scott Hay. Here's the Denver call of Jamal Murray winning the game.
Murray's got it. Murray with 3 seconds. Lets it go for the win. Got it! Jamal Murray, cold-blooded.
Okay, good call, right?
Yeah.
That's his team. Now, the Blazers announcer is one of the best basketball announcers in the country. It's a guy named Kevin Calabro. Used to work for TNT. He's fantastic.
He's great.
He's got a great voice. Was the voice of the Sonics for many, many years. Here's the exact same play. Now, keep in mind, Kevin is the Blazers announcer. Okay? Here's what it sounded like.
Murray handles, crossing over, steps back, a triple for the win. Got it. Well, 9/10 of a second remaining.
Okay. So very subdued.
Wow.
Is that okay? So I thought Marlowe's call, home call, exciting, good. Does Calabro's call, is that appropriate? Is it high enough energy, low enough energy? What do you think?
A little low.
Greg, what do you think?
I thought it was funny. I think it's totally acceptable.
Okay, Jorge?
I thought it was low, but it was funny.
Okay, so let me put myself on trial.
All right.
This thing happened a week and a half ago.
Yep.
We're playing Indiana at Crypto.com Arena.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This kid, Andrew Nebhart, beats the Lakers at the buzzer. The Lakers are up 2. So I want you guys to be honest. You can be honest. If I showed the requisite amount of enthusiasm when it's the other team that wins the game. Here's how I called it. Halliburton brings it in. Turner, 3 for the lead. No good. Rebound loose. Halliburton's got it. Halliburton down the middle. Halliburton throws it outside. Nebhart for the win. Got it. Nebhart hit it at the buzzer, and the Lakers lose by 1.
What can I tell you about that Nebhart?
All right. Proper requisite, Greg, requisite level.
Absolutely right. Everything was
I
right.
thought my energy met the moment, and then I don't know what to do. Much like, it's interesting that Kevin and I both use the same exact phrase, which is got it.
Murray handles, crossing over, steps back, a triple for the win. Got it. Well, 9/10 of a second remaining.
Calabro is like,
he went low.
Got it.
He's like, got it. You could hear the disappointment in his voice.
Okay, but what's the right response here? What's the right answer? Do I
You call it straight. You don't get overly excited, but you call it straight. Like, pretend you're the national announcer.
That's a great play.
It's a great play.
Yeah.
I would have been okay if Calabro got it and he was all excited. I would have been okay with that too because it was a huge, massive play.
Because I mean, you could also say, "Got it," you know, right? Like you could have. I thought yours was right. Pretend you're Mike Breen. In that situation, I think you have to be the national.
Then I'd have to yell bang.
Right. Her bang bong.
Oh, no. I've got an idea. Okay, how about this?
Okay.
Tell me if this would work. Maybe I could use this tomorrow night. Okay.
With the LeBron game winner.
All right. No. It would be. Oh,
you want
if
it for
the
the
other
side.
team wins.
Oh, we don't want to put it to Celtics.
So
Can you
Lakers
do it for a different team.
Well, you'll see where I'm going. All right. Lakers up by 2. 3 seconds left. Celtics are going to inbound the ball. Jaylen Brown's going to bring it in. Brings it into Tatum. Tatum dribbles right. 3-pointer for the win.
That would be amazing. Yes, if you did that.
Oh my God!
I would give you all of my mythical money.
I would give you.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that,
John. I'll give you.
Jorge, how much you're the guy that I need to catch.
Oh, it's on tape, man.
I'm happy to do it against the Celtics. If that's the way you did it, you
John,
can take
if
it.
you do that,
I'll
that
lose.
Will go
happily.
that will go more viral than when Shaq cursed at you live on air.
So you know what I
be
did
your
once?
greatest moment.
That might be your greatest broadcasting moment.
Yeah. So you know what what popped into my head? Jorge, you could probably find this. Type in. This was from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We're in Boston, and Rondo hits a game winner.
Yep.
Okay, and it's literally like we're down 1.
Yep. I remember
the
it.
ball's bouncing around. Rondo, and I had just watched Good Will Hunting.
Oh.
So at the end
Did you say how you like them apples?
I did. At the end of the call, and it was like, and it was the Lakers had, and it was in the garden.
It was in the garden,
and it was like there was just no reason to think that the Lakers are going to win this game, and was going back and forth. I think it was Ingram took the ball to the rim and it got blocked by Horford. Horford on his first stint with the Celtics before they traded him away, and now he's back with them. But and then so I worked in a How Do You Like Them Apples because I had just seen Good Will Hunting. But it's a hard thing as a play-by-play guy to figure out the opposite of that. In other words, if the Celtics hit a game winner, in the case of Nebhard, if the Pacers hit a game winner to beat your team.
I think you play it straight. I think you call it straight like you're a national announcer instead of the home team announcer, or instead of your team. You don't worry about which team won or lost. You don't show a tremendous amount of celebration, like you don't do a touchdown dance.
Right.
But you got to meet the moment with enthusiasm.
Yeah. It's a hard decision if you got to make it on the other side. Okay, so I want to talk about the Rams for a second. A lot of talk after that game Thursday night when our Raiders wet the bed, Ramona, that Baker Mayfield may have played himself into the Rams quarterback job, and here's what I mean. There's no reason to put Matthew Stafford back out there. He's got like 6 or 7 injuries, and one of them is spine, and and the Rams aren't going anywhere. Am I the only one who's thinking that, and the Rams are smart, you pay Baker Mayfield to be on your roster next year? In other words, he's not going to get a giant deal. The Rams were the only one who put a claim in on him. But he kind of fits exactly what we need. We need a really good backup. I think it's they're not as good as these guys. These guys are both in the Hall of Fame. But it's kind of like a Joe Montana, Steve Young thing. Matthew Stafford probably has 2-3 years left tops, and maybe 0 if these injuries don't pan out. Baker Mayfield's got 10 years left. I would go to Baker's agent and say, look, we want to sign you to a deal. You're going to be the backup, but Matthew Stafford has tons of injuries. You could get thrown into the starting role in any second. And after Matthew retires, Matthew's like 35. I think Baker's more like 25.
Yep.
Then we groom you to be the starting quarterback. What do you think of that plan?
I think they need a strong backup. I don't think it has to be Baker. Yeah, it's not like they have his bird rights or something.
Right.
They're just taking a look at him. And you'll get I like that they claimed him because why not? I mean, you'll see if you like him, but I am concerned about Stafford's injuries.
Me too.
I mean, the amount of punishment he's taken, but also like a spinal cord injury is a scary thing for a quarterback.
Well,
especially one who worries about the rest of his life.
And in the case of the Rams, when you have good skill position players and other guys out there, you need somebody better than. And I'm not trying to hate on John Wolford, but you need somebody like Baker Mayfield who could energize the team and step in there. Bergman, would you offer Baker Mayfield a deal, a little more money than he would probably get elsewhere to be your backup?
Yeah, I mean, if he finishes out the year on good terms and he's clicking with all these other guys like Skoranek and Cam Akers and a few of these guys, then I would absolutely bring him because, like you said, I don't like what's going on with Matthew Stafford. The spinal cord injury is really big, especially when you have a wife. Yeah, but you had 2 concussions in 2 weeks earlier this year. I mean, your wife doesn't really want you really playing all that much, from what it sounds like. So, you need to have 4 kids. It's your family. You have the Super Bowl. Your family is more important at this point. So, look what happened with Brady. So,
right,
I would absolutely give him a shot if he plays the rest of the season well.
Hey, a little breaking news from the NBA.
Yeah,
remember how you were talking about the Pistons and how good they are? Former number 1 overall pick, Cade Cunningham, is going to have season-ending surgery on his left shin. Won't be back till next year.
I thought that was a possibility. We were talking. I walked out with Cade last night, and I thought, why bring him back if he's still having something? Michael, who obviously has spent his whole life in the game, and now Clay's in the game, and Clay's obviously had some really serious injuries. You did a big feature on Clay recently. Michael said he's never heard. And this is obviously just one person's experience, but he's never heard of a shin injury this serious. That he's had shin splints.
Yeah.
That the fact that they're reporting that this is shin, Michael thought, and what he was speculating, but now it turns out he goes, it's got to be something else. There's got to be a fracture, or a stress reaction in there, because being out this long with a shin injury is not normal.
Well, and to your point about Wembanyama,
they're tanking for,
we've been waiting to see who, how, when teams will start the race to the bottom.
And I think the two teams that have already waved the flag and said we're going for Wembayama are the Pistons and the Spurs.
Yes.
Now the Thunder may eventually join them, but I think the Pistons and the Spurs are both there. By the way, there's only one answer right now to who the most underrated player in the NBA is. When I say that, does a name pop into your head right away?
Underrated player in the NBA. Who are you thinking?
Anthony Davis.
No. It's a player that is, I think if he played in any other market, he'd be first-team All-NBA. He's going to be second-team All-NBA. He is killing people every night. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh, yeah. He might be an MVP getter.
Well,
getter.
Well, not on that team.
No, not on that team.
And I don't think he can make first team because it's just...
No, it's too crowded.
Well, and there are, I mean...
You gonna not have Luka or Steph?
Yeah, I mean...
You know, Tim Bontemps is doing his... he does a straw poll.
See, I think either Luka or... I think it's going to be Luka that goes to the second team. You know why? I think Devin Booker has to be on the first team. I think Devin Booker and Steph have those two spots locked up.
So Luka you can put as a forward. That's how people have gotten around.
Yeah,
it in the past.
but you're not going to put him ahead of Giannis or AD.
Yeah, you are.
You're going to put Luka ahead of Giannis?
No, ahead of AD.
Really?
I think AD's candidacy is still forming. Right now at the quarter pole mark.
Okay, but if you put your front line as Jason Tatum's a lock right now.
Lock.
Okay. Giannis, I think, is a lock.
Lock. Those
so
are the
now
two
we're
locks.
debating: do we put a center in there?
Yep.
Embiid, Jokic, AD, or do we put Luka in there? I think Luka's technically a guard. You can't put Luka on the front line. I think Luka's.
He has been though.
I think
people vote him as a workaround.
I think Luka's got to go to the second team. I think because if the Mavericks were good,
well,
I would tell you.
I think I think he'll be first team because people just vote for Luka. They just do.
And you think AD goes to the second team?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think either Booker or Steph go to the second team.
And then what are we doing with Embiid?
It looks like he's been on the second and third teams in the last few years. He's not always first team All NBA. Jokic is.
Yeah.
It's a really tough vote. I mean, this year I always just do the straw poll off the top of my head, and I think that the top three matter more than the second two, right?
Yeah.
He goes, "Who's your top five at the quarter poll mark?" Right? Because we're coming up on that. Right now, for me, it would be Tatum, Giannis, and probably Luka in that third spot because he's been that good.
I would put either AD, Jokic, or Embiid, and I would have no problem with any of them, but I think you need a center.
No, I'm saying in the top five MVP
Oh,
voting.
yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, MVP right now, I put Tatum 1.
Tatum 1.
Yeah.
Giannis 2.
Yeah.
I think those two are pretty
look
locked
at AD,
in there.
Look at AD's PER.
Yeah, the problem is Lakers' record hurts them.
Yeah.
It
well,
does.
but they're getting better.
That's what I'm saying.
They're
I can't
11
give you
and
any kind of
15.
answer.
Dallas is about
AD.
the same.
Yeah, I mean, they're a little better, but it's hard to say where AD will end up because we don't know where the Lakers will end up.
Greg, what do you got?
So with the Shai thing, I just want to go back to that for a second. Do you think the Clippers are more upset with the Shai trade or happy with
They had
Paul
to
George?
do it.
Well, it's not so much that they had to do it. You think right now?
Okay, I'll tell you why they had to do it, and Ramona
because you got Kawhi
will back me up. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you got it. Kawhi was coming if they could bring another star, and the one Kawhi wanted was Paul George, and when Doc was the coach back then, and when Doc went to Steve Ballmer, Ballmer said, "Man, we're giving up a ton just to get Paul George. We're giving up SGA. We're giving up all our draft picks, blah, blah, blah." And Doc's response to him was, "You're not doing it to get Paul George. You're doing it to get Paul George and Kawhi Leonard."
Right.
They wouldn't have come unless you're not getting Kawhi unless you get PG. Remember, Kawhi would have gone to the Lakers. But when
I think history is this is a really critical discussion. I think history.
Hold it, because
Okay.
we're up against a break,
All
and
right.
then I also want to loop back to something about the Rams, and I got another workplace dilemma.
Okay.
That I want to
like these.
ask you guys about. Yeah, not just sports related, but to any workplace that makes no sense to me. And Game of Games is coming up in about 20 minutes. Momo and Fermace, I'm John Ireland, ESPNLA. Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play. Football fans, want to win $100 for picking 5 games against the spread? Just download the Cover 5 app for free. Compete with Mason and me each week for a chance to win $100. Here's what you need to do. Download the Cover 5 app, use code MI22 to join our show league, and then start having fun all season long. Just download the Cover 5 app. Use code MI22 to join the Mason and Ireland Show League. Pick 5 games against the spread to win $100 or play all season long at cover5.com.
G's of LA Sports Radio, we're here each weekday, 1 to 4 p.m. for your afternoon. Sandwich between Travis and Sliwa and Sedano and Cap. Mason and Ireland continues now.
Today it's Momo in Ireland, Ramona Shelburne in for Mason. You were making a point about Kawhi Leonard. Big game tonight at Staples and an even bigger one tomorrow night. I called it Staples. I do that about once
I do
a
that
game.
all the time, yeah.
All right, Crypto.com Arena.
For how long, though?
Clippers, yeah, no kidding. Clippers, Celtics tonight. Yeah. Celtics, Lakers tomorrow night. And we were talking about Kawhi Leonard. You think he might play tonight?
It sounded like it. I was looking at Ohm Youngmisuk, who covers the Clippers. He said it sounded like the Clippers are ready to go. They have a short injury report. Let me look again. But anyway, the point about Kawhi and that trade back in the trade for Paul George, which nets them Kawhi. So there's a lot of butterfly effect moments in the NBA. The Chris Paul trade and what would happen, and the Kawhi Leonard free agency is one of those moments. It affects multiple franchises for multiple years and all the butterfly effects of it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander goes to Oklahoma City. He is the centerpiece of the deal for the Thunder. He looks He's averaging 30 points a game now.
Looks
He
unbelievable.
Looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
Signed a Supermax to stay there. He's the beginning of their
and remember they have Chet Holmgren. He's just not healthy.
Right. So when Kawhi was a free agent, I've thought about this a lot recently because I it's one of those trades. Okay, I think in terms of his reputation in history and how he goes down and how he's remembered, this is a pretty pivotal moment because him insisting on getting Paul George gave Oklahoma City so much leverage,
right,
that the Clippers had to gut their team and their depth to go get Paul. And it reminds me quite a bit of when Kobe wanted out of LA.
Right.
And one of the reasons why the Lakers didn't do this was, okay, they had a trade with the Bulls.
Yeah.
There was a trade there.
And I heard Luol Deng held it up. Chicago didn't want to give him up.
Yeah, there was the version of it that I've heard is that essentially Kobe knew about the trade and Chicago didn't want to give up Luol, and there was another and Kobe basically said, well, if we give up Deng, why would I go to Chicago then? They won't be good enough.
Right.
You have to gut your team to go get me, then what's the point?
But in the case of the Clippers, I think their roster is good enough. They just can't keep those guys healthy.
Yeah.
I love the Clipper roster. I think it's really deep.
I think they're deep, and I think they're good, but they really did go all in. They gave up multiple picks. I mean, they've done a great job recovering from that trade, if you want to phrase it that way.
In terms of roster construction.
Yeah,
they've been really
the
great.
Lakers had to give up a ton for Anthony Davis.
But see, when people say the Lakers gave up too much for AD, my response is always, no, they didn't. They won the title.
They won a title.
And they could
That's
win
it.
more. Yeah.
And we won't know how the effects of any of these trades for years to come. The Lakers pick this year, when they started 2-10, I was thinking, oh no, it is the doomsday scenario.
Wembayama goes to New Orleans.
Yeah, with what would have been the Laker pick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the doomsday scenario. Now it doesn't look like that. But if you're Kawhi, why give Oklahoma City all that leverage? Why not just sign with the Clippers?
I don't think he thought that far out.
Right, and that, to me, strategically, that was a wrong move.
Well, remember, he didn't have a normal agent. I think his uncle was his agent, and it was.
No, he has a guy on file, but his uncle knows.
Yeah, so it made it different. All right, I'm going to loop back to the Rams for a second. 3 of Sean McVay's assistant coaches, it may be down to 2 now. I think one changed his mind, but are leaving to go back to the college ranks. Does that mean? Is that something or nothing? Does that mean McVay might leave at the end of the year? I got to thinking. Amazon is using Kirk Herbstreit with Al Michaels, and Kirk's great, but Kirk is working more than me, and no one works more than me.
Oh my God. Sedano might.
Good point.
You and Sedano are up there.
We're in a race.
You're like you have like.
Well, and I've said this to George before. George's workload is more impressive because he flies commercial.
Yes.
It helps me a lot that I fly
100%,
private. Yeah. But George, it goes to. I work more games, but he travels more. He
through airports.
Yeah.
And, that
different animal.
I agree.
But Kirk Herbstreit is like all over the country, working NFL, working college, blah, blah, blah. So Kirk could very easily step down from Amazon at the end of this year. And Greg, what do you think of this? I think if Sean McVay got offered a 2 or 3 year deal for $60 or $70 million to be the analyst on Thursday Night Football with Al, I think he would take it. What do you think?
I think he was close to taking it over this last
Last
summer.
year,
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So I think it's possible. I think if Aaron Donald comes back, I think he comes back. If Aaron Donald decides that he's done with all of what's going on, with how they struggled, and we don't know what's going on with Matthew Stafford, then I think he leaves also. I think he's kind of tied with Aaron Donald personally.
Well, one thing that'll happen too, and Greg referenced it earlier, is if Mayfield kind of finds himself over these last few games playing quarterback, McVay is the type of guy who could resuscitate Mayfield's career. You know, Mayfield, had the Rams not claimed him, there's a chance nobody would have.
Right.
And he would have been out of the league, and he would have had to, convince a team to invite him to camp next year. Instead, Rams claim him. He teams up with McVay. He has this dream scenario comeback on national TV, and now he's loaded with confidence. His teammates love him. Gets the game ball, starting again this week. I think if the combination of McVay and Mayfield may be a good marriage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't think McVay was ever taking a broadcast job this offseason. I don't think Aaron Donald was ever going to retire. I think they just had leverage.
Right. Well, coming off the Super Bowl, everybody did.
Yeah, everybody had leverage. They all want to get, they all should get paid after all that. But I don't think either of them were serious about it.
Yeah.
You could.
But don't you think if that
I don't
offer,
have sourcing
if that
on
offer
that, I just
came,
never bought
if
it.
that offer came to Sean from Amazon after this season, it'd be really hard to turn down?
I think there's an offer for Sean anytime he wants it from any of the broadcast networks.
Yeah.
Like anytime he wants to go be an NFL broadcaster, he just has to say the word.
All right. Coming up next, a workplace dilemma that I want to ask you guys about. That it's going on right now, and I don't understand it. Maybe you guys can help. And then after that, Game of Games. Momo and Mace, I'm John Ireland, ESPN. Football fans want to win $100 for picking 5 games against the spread. Just download the Cover 5 app for free. Compete with Mason and me each week for a chance to win $100. Here's what you need to do. Download the Cover 5 app. Use code MI22 to join our show league, and then start having fun all season long. Just download the Cover 5 app. Use code MI22 to join the Mason and Ireland Show League. Pick 5 games against the spread to win $100, or play all season long at cover5.com.
Hey, Rams fans, Travis Rogers here. You have got to get the new ESPNLA app. In fact, let's go down to the locker room and get a little help.
What's up, Rams fans? This is Matthew Stafford. React to the Rams on the new ESPNLA app.
This is Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams. Listen to all your Rams talk on the ESPNLA app.
You are just one tap away from Rams All Access. Travis and Slee, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. Download it now on the App Store or Google Play.
Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play.
and Sonato and Cap. Mason and Ireland continues now.
All right, Mason and Ireland show. When I walked in, Jorge said, you got something for me. What do you got?
Oh, yeah, we had Lindsay Lohan last week. I don't know if you saw this, but here, let me play it for you. Hang on.
You had Lindsay Lohan.
Nice. Ooh, naughty. Pepsi and milk. Pilk. That is one dirty soda.
Wait, hold on. Is that real?
Yes,
very
Pepsi
real.
Pepsi and milk.
That's a thing?
That's a thing.
Can you buy it?
No. You pour the milk on your Pepsi and you make
But
it.
who paid for that ad?
Pepsi did. Pepsi made it.
And
Lindsay
we
Lohan
clearly just gave them free advertising.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they were going for.
And since you like Lindsay.
Way to
we thought
fall
of-
for it, Jorge.
No, we played for it. We played it last week.
Well, Lindsay
wanna
is
get
my
your thoughts
girl,
on
as
it,
I
yeah.
often say. She's just misunderstood.
Did you watch her stupid Christmas movie?
I have it loaded on my iPad, but I have been working so much
Ugh.
that I have not watched anything on my iPad. This whole 10 days, I got a 10-day
Yeah.
trip. I'm going to watch everything on my iPad. I watched
Yeah.
nothing.
Don't watch it. I would put it very low on your list.
Okay, good. Because I don't have time anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so here's something I want to ask you guys about. You too, Amanda. So are you guys following this Good Morning America third-hour
bit.
story?
Oh, yeah.
Little bit.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So there's something I'm not understanding. So there are these co-hosts on that show, T.J. Holmes and Amy Robach.
Yeah.
Apparently they were both 3-4 months ago married to other people. They hooked up at
Yep.
work. They have now left their respective spouses
Yep.
and are dating. This all came out because some newspaper, I think it was a London Mirror or something, did an expose and found them holding hands and
Yeah,
hanging
okay.
out, blah blah blah. Good Morning America, ABC, and they're owned by the same people. We're owned by Good Karma, but we have a relationship with Disney and ABC. Good Morning America has taken them off the air, pending an investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What am I not getting here? Amanda, if Ramona and I did what Amy and TJ did, okay? Ramona and I are married.
Not that that's going to happen.
Yeah, don't worry. My wife would kill all of us. But, Amanda, Ramona and I hook up. We get divorced from our respective spouses, and we start dating. Would you pull us off the air?
No, I think where they went wrong here is that they should have gone to their bosses first. I think part of the issue is that I think that it's NBC, right?
ABC.
Is it ABC?
Yeah.
No, the one oh, they work at ABC?
Yes.
Okay.
They work on it's called GMA 3, the third
Okay.
hour of Good Morning America.
So I think the problem is that
Amy, what you're thinking of is Amy used to work at NBC.
Yeah, okay. Is that the company feels a little embarrassed that they have to deal with this, and that the two of them should have come to their bosses and informed them of their relationship prior.
Now, my understanding, Bergman, has always been if there is a power dynamic, then for example, if Amanda and I got together,
that is a problem.
Amanda is my boss. We would then, Amanda, have to go to Sam or to Scott McCarthy or whoever is our higher, or Amanda, whoever is technically your boss, and say, hey, we want to disclose something. Amanda's John's boss, and we're dating, and we wanted you guys to know because I get that. But this is, Greg.
Equals.
Right.
Yeah,
why
but
does
it
why are they
doesn't-
pulling?
It still doesn't matter, and I will tell you, and maybe this rule applies at ABC, I don't know, because at ESPN, if you're in a relationship with someone else in the company, you're supposed to inform them of it.
Yeah, you have to, like,
even
report it to
if
each-
there is not a power
Correct.
disparity.
Even, yes,
there
even
might
if
also
there is
be-
not a disparity.
There might also be a quality, John, of like, okay, are they getting preferential treatment because they're together? Or are they advanced? I don't know.
But how could they? They're not dating. Neither one of them is sleeping with their boss. They're
Yeah.
sleeping with each other.
But I think you also, part of the other issue is the company probably wanted to know, because if something goes poorly.
Yeah, if something goes wrong, do they
right?
have to move, not have them
I
live
gotta
there's
together?
issues.
I got to tell you guys, I don't get that.
I know.
I mean, Amanda, something could go poorly. It always could when you're dating somebody.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't affect our performance, like if Ramona and I hooked up off the air and then we got together and we're living together, but the shows are exactly the same. There's no difference in quality or content of the shows, you still think that's grounds for them to take us off the air?
I don't think that they necessarily needed to be taken off the air, but I definitely think that they should have been spoken to. But
it eludes me. I mean, people meet at work all the time and date people at work all the time. Ramona, do you get this?
Not totally. I think it also doesn't make other people uncomfortable.
Maybe.
You know.
But, I mean, okay.
But why would it make other people uncomfortable?
I was going to say, like, I really like your husband,
Yeah.
Nevin, but if I didn't like him, okay, and I was, like, making comments about him or making you uncomfortable, that's one thing. But these two like each other. They're dating. They're living together. Where's the rub here?
So this story here says the GMA ratings have actually gone up 11% since this scandal.
But you know what's not good?
Yeah.
They're not on.
Yeah.
So the guest hosts are getting bigger ratings.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand the whole, like, the Ime Udoka thing. While he was suspended, was a power dynamic that he had.
Yeah.
His position in the company, he could force underlings to do things that they may or may not wanted to do. Amy Robach and T.J. Holmes are, as Greg put it, equals.
Yeah.
You
so
know,
what I wonder, though,
where's
is
the issue here?
Maybe the thing that made people uncomfortable is that they were both married to other people. And so when somebody's having an affair and you know their spouses,
right?
Or you know they're married.
But
you're
is
like,
that grounds for work discipline?
Apparently, she is also the third woman that he has been,
right?
You know, hanging out with.
But
at
all
work.
Consensual, right?
Yes.
So the way
where's
she
the
phrased
issue?
it, the ABC News president says she's taking them in an internal email, okay? She's taking them off the air because of their alleged affair, which was not a violation of company policy, but had become too much of an internal and external distraction.
Is
whatever that means.
Yeah, but you said the ratings are up 11%.
Yeah. And then okay, here, this is pretty funny, okay? According to Nielsen data, with the backups on when they weren't on the air on Monday, the viewership fell back down, according to Nielsen.
Like if they announced today that Amy and TJ were going to be back tomorrow, I've never watched that show in my life. I would watch tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think they've got lightning in a bottle and they don't know it.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, if I was them, if I was an attorney representing Amy or TJ, I would say, point to me what part of my employment agreement did I violate? Why am I being taken off the air?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get it.
I think they were looking at some kind of like morality clauses to see if there was anything
because
in
they're
their contracts. Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah,
is
but
uncomfortable.
I have morality clauses in my contract amended, but do any of them say that I can't date people at
or
work?
is it uncomfortable for everyone because they know both of them were married?
Maybe. But, I mean,
that's uncomfortable.
Life
If I knew somebody was married and I knew they were.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I definitely have known people who
I've
are
been in
very
that
blatantly
situation.
having an affair.
Yes.
And it's like, it's different. Okay, I might know that person's having an affair, and I might even know their spouse, but I'm not working with their spouse. Or I'm
Right.
not in the same, right?
But their spouses, their respective spouses didn't work for the
Yeah.
company. I just don't understand why this...
It is kind of a distraction.
She was married to Andrew Shue.
Right. And he was married to a lawyer.
Yeah.
And now they're not. They they both split up, and now these two are together, and all of a sudden they're off the air. I don't see what they did wrong.
I think what they did wrong is they just should have come out and been open and honest from the very beginning to their employer.
Okay, you're my boss. Am I required, if I split up with Lisa and start dating
No, not
Ramona,
that part.
am I required to tell you?
Yes, you are.
100% you are.
Absolutely.
Why?
Yeah. Well, like I said, we
Even
work
if you're
for
colleagues, yeah.
Yeah, but we also work for ESPN, and the company, that's what the company says. You have to let HR know.
Here's another thing. There's I'm reading up a little bit more on this, okay? Apparently, the investigation also wants to determine if they used company resources like vehicles or drivers to meet romantically or pressuring staffers to keep their relationship on the DL.
Okay, now you're into an area where I can start to understand it. If I'm if I'm spending an extra night in a hotel room and charging it to ABC and just so you and I can hook up, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But I just haven't heard that.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it very interesting that these two have been taken off the air. Like with the Matt Lauer stuff, he was doing it to underlings.
Yeah, yeah.
These two are equals or co-hosts on the same show. I don't get it. Maybe if somebody understands it, tweet me. I don't get it. All right, coming up next, Game of Games. Game of Games is close this month. Bergman, it's a bunch of people with one point each, right?
Yep, everybody has one,
including
you.
Yeah, but I can't win today. It's my game. Sedano's going to come in here, and we're going to play it next. Mason in Ireland, Momo in for Mace.
The games on the #1 sports radio show in LA, Mason and Ireland.
Game of Games.
Game of Games presented by CallJacob.com.
Call Jacob.
Everyone loves a fighter, but in this town, winning matters, especially after an accident. So remember, anyone can fight, but CallJacob.com is here for you when you need a big win. After an accident, go to CallJacob.com or call 844-24-JACOB. That's 844-24-JACOB. We got the jingle.
Call Jacob.
Thank you. Game of Games time. Take it away, Mace.
All right, no Mace today, but Momo's in here for him, and we've got Game of Games, and George Sedano is joining us to play Game of Games. So it's Jorge, Bergman, Ramona, and Sedano. It's my game today, and it's multiple choice. So here we go. With the World Cup wrapping up, I have a quiz about the countries who qualified for the World Cup this year.
Okay.
Here we go. Question 1.
Is this a multiple choice?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Thank God.
All right. Sixers center Joel Embiid
Yep.
hails from what World Cup country? A, Senegal, B, Cameroon, C, Ghana. Jorge, Senegal, Cameroon, or Ghana for Embiid?
I'll say Ghana.
Okay, Bergman.
Oh, they're going to get this right. That's not fair. Senegal.
Yeah, you should not ask
Okay.
me and George. We know the
Momo.
answer. Well, I'm going to ask George. I know the answer, so if I answer
Okay.
Cameroon.
Okay.
it's Cameroon.
It is Cameroon.
Dang it.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Question 2.
Yeah, like George
And
and I
Momo trying
definitely
to be
know.
tricky, like I wouldn't
Yeah.
know, huh?
I was like, well, if I answer it, it's pretty obvious.
All you in the league people.
Greg,
Hey.
which is the only one of these countries not to have the color red in its flag?
Okay.
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 Is it A, Brazil, B, Australia, or C, Germany? Brazil, Australia, or Germany? Bergman.
Oh, boy.
No
This
red
is
in
not
the flag.
hard, Bergman.
I don't know flags.
Well, take a
I know
guess.
flags.
It's A, B, or C.
What was the first one?
Brazil, Australia, or Germany?
I think it's Brazil.
Okay, Momo.
Brazil.
Sedano.
Brazil.
Oh, thank God.
Brazil.
Jorge. It is Brazil.
Yeah.
It's black, green, and yellow, right? Brazil? Okay. And Australia has a little bit of red.
Well, there's a little blue, too, in Brazil because they
Yeah.
have the earth in the middle.
Yeah,
blue,
and
green,
then
yellow, yeah.
Germany has a red stripe. All right, so it's Ramona 2, Sedano 2, and Bergman and Jorge 1 each. Question 3. This country, Momo, failed to qualify for the World Cup this year. Is it A, Serbia, B, Ecuador, or C, Sweden? Serbia, Ecuador, or Sweden? Which one failed to qualify this year?
Sweden.
Sedano.
I'm going to say Serbia.
Jorge.
Sweden.
Greg.
Sweden.
It is Sweden. And
Greg just
Ramona.
followed because
No, I knew it
Tails
was Sweden. I knew it was Sweden.
Yeah.
Okay. George, this one coming to you first.
I would do that, though.
Sedano,
Gameplay.
the team from North America who did the best in this year's World Cup was A, Canada, B, the United States, or C, Mexico.
The United States.
Jorge.
Yeah, U.S.
Greg.
Yeah, it was U.S.
Momo.
U.S.
All right, U.S., and that means Momo 4 and everyone else 3. Okay. Back to Jorge.
Okay.
This team made their first appearance in 64 years, the longest gap ever for any team. Their only previous participation was in 1958. Was it A, Canada, B, Qatar, or C, Wales? Jorge, Canada, Qatar, or Wales?
Wales.
Bergman.
Wales.
Momo.
Wales.
Sedano.
Wales.
It is Wales. You guys all knew that one. Okay.
Mhm. They were in the group.
This tournament is set to be the last with 32 participating teams. How many teams will be in the field in 2026? Bergman, is it A, 24, B, 48, or C, 64? 24, 48, or 64, Greg?
Well, all 3 teams in North America are automatically in, so 48.
Okay, Momo.
I will also say 48.
Sedano.
48.
Jorge.
48.
Yeah, it is 48. You guys know all these. Okay. Next question. This one's going to you, Momo. Stadium 974 will be dismantled completely after the tournament. This stadium is the first temporary stadium ever used for a FIFA World Cup. How did Stadium 974 get its name? Was it A, there were 974 members of the Qatari World Cup Committee that landed the games for Qatar? B, it took 974 days to complete that stadium? Or C, 974 is the international calling code for Qatar? So is it A, B, or C?
A.
You say 974 members landed the games. Okay, Sedano.
I have no idea, by the way.
I thought it was going to be about the boxes.
I'm going to say C.
Okay, that it's the calling code. Jorge.
What was B?
B is it took 974 days to complete the temporary stadium.
No, I'll go C.
Okay, you're going calling code.
I was either going A or C.
I'm going to go with
Bergman.
Momo, even though I probably shouldn't.
Yeah,
A,
I don't know.
the people, the amount of people.
The correct answer is C. It's
Ah,
the calling code. But
Shoot.
that, by the way, that sets up a very interesting last question, and I have a tiebreaker.
Okay,
Here's
let's
the
go.
score right now. Ramona 6. Sedano 6. Jorge 6. Bergman 5. So Bergman gets to go last.
All right.
All right.
And different.
Here it is.
And the person who go first is the one that you don't want to win.
Okay, it says Briones. It sounds like you're going first. All right, Oleg Salenko of Russia holds the record for most goals scored by a single player in any one World Cup match.
All right.
He did it against Cameroon in 1994. How many goals did Salenko score in that one game? A, 3, B, 4, or C, 5? Briones, 3, 4, or 5?
4.
Bergman.
No,
oh,
no,
you
I'm
go
last.
no, Ramona.
5.
Sedano.
4.
The only
Bergman.
thing I can do is 3.
We have a winner.
Dang it. I'm out. I lost.
The correct answer is 5, and Ramona Shelburne has taken the men down.
You're the
Very
first with
nice,
2.
Mama, and you have
Oh!
the overall lead.
Oh, my gosh. And the person who wins December wins the year.
What is that made-up crap?
Shoot your shot.
You know what I say to that? Let's do a tiebreaker just for fun. Clint Dempsey has scored the most international goals for Team USA in history.
Yep.
He played in 141 games
Okay.
for the United States. How many total goals did Dempsey score in his international career? Closest without going over, Momo.
21.
Okay, Sedano.
In his international career.
Yes, 141 games.
I'm going to say 18.
Briones.
I'll say 34.
And Bergman.
35.
Bergman knows how this game is played. the answer is 57
Wow, that's a
in
lot.
141 games. Yeah. So, Sedano, I was surprised. I was telling this story earlier. I was listening to a podcast last night, and Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo were talking about all NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, if you had to do it now after 25 games.
Right.
They said guards, and this makes a lot of sense. They said
Luka?
no. They have Luka on the second team.
Ja?
They had Devin Booker and Steph. Okay, which tough to argue with.
Yeah.
All the names you mentioned could possibly go in.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the guards.
I would, if I was doing a top 5, I actually just did this
Me too, and
with
Tim
Tim
Bontemps,
Bontemps.
yeah.
So I could put a lot of guys who put in crazy numbers, but
Yep.
my top 5 in this order was Tatum,
Yep.
Giannis. I focus. Winning matters to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Tatum, Giannis, Jokic, Zion, Ja. Those
Wow,
are
you
my
already
top
win
5.
Zion.
Yeah.
Okay, so I found this interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I found
Or
thi-
actually, Ja Zion. I had Zion
Okay,
5.
I
That's
found
So
it.
you didn't have Booker in there.
I didn't have Booker or Luka in my top 5 right now.
They
Today.
didn't have Luka either. Now here's what surprised me: their front line, and this I may be just talking about Bill and not Ryan. I didn't hear what Ryan said because the plane landed, but Bill said, and this surprised me: his front line, all NBA first team.
Yeah.
Tatum,
Yeah.
Giannis,
Yeah.
AD, ahead of Jokic and Embiid.
I would-
I was pleasantly surprised.
So first team is different than MVP, obviously. But yeah, I would not have an issue with that at all. With AD being right now,
Yeah.
I mean, he's been incredible. Like you're talking about numbers that he's put up. That last stretch before he got the flu, he had a 2-game stretch of like nearly 100 points on like 70% shooting.
Yeah.
Nobody had done that since McHale in '85.
So I watched though, like I was with you on that, and then when he played head to head against Embiid,
Right.
I thought Embiid got the better of that
He
matchup.
did that night. He got into foul trouble.
yeah,
and
but
so,
in that game,
and like when you
But he came
just
on
watching
late.
it, I thought, oh well, Embiid's winning this one. Like this is a head to head. Embiid it seems like he's really bringing it on these national TV
Yeah.
games, and I can tell you, like in the past, Embiid has not shown up in those games.
Well, I'll tell you this: Darvin Ham hugged me and AD on national television after that Milwaukee game. So I'm giving
Yeah.
it to AD just on that.
well, that Milwaukee game was as entertaining a game
Yeah, that was
as
a great game.
George, you worked it. It's Giannis and AD were both spectacular.
Yeah.
like there were just no answers
Yeah.
for either one of them.
I just think, honestly, it is going to sound crazy because, well, not too crazy because Embiid historically has missed a lot of time too, though not recently. But AD's been more available than Embiid this year.
A little bit, yeah.
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 So I would be
That's
okay
true.
with AD. So who did they have? They had guard Booker and Curry,
Yeah.
and then Tatum, Giannis, and AD.
Okay,
I
so
don't have a huge problem with it.
second team guards. You haven't mentioned one of Bill's.
So it's not Ja,
Mm-mm.
and it's not
Luka is one.
Luka's one, right? So there you go. Who would be the other second team guard?
I called earlier. I don't know if you been listening to the show earlier in the day. I said he is clearly the most underrated player in the NBA.
That used to be Mike Conley for like a decade. I
Yeah.
feel like, but
you'll agree with me when I tell you.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
He's
mean,
on my fantasy team.
I don't
So
know that
you
he's
know,
underrated. I think he just plays on a team that no one's expecting to win. And
those two things are related.
I do also remember when they made that deal, and you remember this. Doc said, like, I wish we didn't have to give up Shea, but we got to give up something to get Paul George. You know?
Right, it makes sense. Jorge, hit Superstation.
ESPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Sedano and Cap to join Mason and Ireland?
Super Crosstalk begins.
Super Crosstalk, presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, made to chill.
It's time for Super Crosstalk.
So did we do all the nerdy basketball talk before Cap came on? Was that on purpose?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What happened to the woo 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 woo?
Mason's not here. Why is he not here?
Well,
but then he
because-
does that,
think-
and I say,
well, think about
what
it.
happened?
Well, Mason, despite Game of Games,
Right.
is competitive.
Right.
So he's not going to be out off date. I just got back from a 10-day Laker road trip. He looked at how many shows I missed and said, "Oh no, I'm taking a week off."
What?
Yeah, the whole week.
Yeah.
I think he also looked at the end of the year and said, I have this many vacation days left. I'm using them.
Yeah, there's no way he has any vacation.
Like
I
the
was
term,
just gonna say,
the
how
term
is that even
rolling
possible?
them over.
How is that even
has
possible?
never applied.
All right, so I have a thank you, a public thank you, and my thank you goes to Scott Kaplan. Here's
Oh,
the
my.
story.
What did I do?
You did a very nice thing that I want to publicly credit you for.
Oh.
My niece is 14. She lives in Idaho, and she plays on the varsity. She's a freshman in high school, and she plays on varsity golf. She's the best player on the team at 14.
Wow.
She already led him to a title in a state tournament, and she just started. So the only thing she really wanted to do, she was out here for a wedding with her parents, and the only thing she wanted to do is play at Torrey Pines. And I had no way of getting on, so I called Cap, who is the unofficial mayor of San Diego.
Cool.
Lo and
South
behold, I get a phone call or a text from Cap one day. Hey, I got him a time. So they played it on Friday. They absolutely loved it, and it is all thanks to you. That was a very nice thing you did. Thank you very much.
Oh, dude, my pleasure, man. Anytime I can help out,
Yeah.
I love to do that. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, why I love being like the hookup guy.
I do too. I
I
mean,
do too. Yeah, like when I don't always want to do it because you're cashing in favors, and that's weird. But it's
So you hate
it's nice
King's
when you
Cappy?
can come through sometimes.
You hate King Cappy?
didn't I do the opposite? I'm praising him.
No. Did you get because he hooked you up, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Hooked
so
up my niece,
You
yeah.
hate Kinged him.
Yeah, hey King.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he was the very first guy that I reached out to.
Yeah. By the way, can I just mentioned this to Bergman, but I like giving him, and well, not him directly, grief about this. In this television studio, or in this radio studio, there are 4 televisions, and every single one of them
Just turn off his mic.
was on. Every single one of them was on.
Put his bike back on. That's not
Every
nice.
single one of them was on Spectrum Sportsnet on a high school football game, and I love high school football. I went to the Rose Bowl to watch Mater Dei and St. John Bosco. Not one was ESPN. Like we couldn't even. I had to have Bergman like literally put ESPN on from
this
that
is
side.
directly my fault.
How do we not have ESPN program?
Because
on one of
I
these
got
TVs?
it. I got in at 2:30 this morning. Woke up and drove here, and I have not looked at one of these TVs since I've been here.
Yeah.
That's how out of it I am.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna put
it's
every
day.
TV. I'm gonna put every TV on ESPN
Yeah, but every
right
day
now.
I come here, it's like Cappy and I, he hears it all the time. Like, how is it we have a sports station that doesn't have like the actual sports channels on?
You want me to tell you the truth?
Yeah.
John Chin, who I think he's here. John Chin changes the channels every day.
No, he does not.
He absolutely does.
No, I
he
don't
puts it on
believe that.
CNN. He puts it on.
I mean,
yeah.
whatever. Put a news channel. That's fine. But can we get one on ESPN for God's sake?
People change them.
All right, I have a question for you guys. We covered this earlier in the show, but I want to bring you guys in on it. The head basketball coach at Illinois is a guy named Greg Underwood. All right,
Greg who?
Greg Underwood, and he laid his team out with a post-game rant that was he just basically accused him of having no leadership and sucking and not going hard at practice. And so, but he said leadership several times. And one of the things that that he did was he basically said nobody on the team stepped up and led. And one of the reporters said, well, what about, Kaplan, who you said 2 weeks ago was a really good leader? And he basically answers, and I think, George, this is something that we can steal, or anybody can steal, and use in the future to get out of any awkward situation. He answered with a fart noise. Listen to this.
Brady talked a lot about TJ's leadership since he's gotten here.
So, George, pretend I'm Darvin Ham. I just got off the floor. We lost a tough game. Ask me anything you want.
Hey, Darvin, I know that was a challenging one there. What do you think was the biggest issue tonight?
We sucked.
Okay, excellent. What in particular did you think you sucked at?
It really.
All right, Darvin, thanks.
It really does.
Now pretend you're Greg Popovich doing the sideline interview with Sedano.
Pop would. Well, maybe not from George because he likes him, but Pop would probably walk away.
Yeah.
Although he would probably not be above a fart noise.
I could see Pop do that.
Yeah.
Cap, don't you think
Like
a
if
fart
the team
noise
was
is a very
really
good club
singing-
to have in your bag when you can't think of anything else to say?
So you make the noise to try and distract them from not having an answer?
Yes. Or like they said, what'd you think of Kaplan's leadership? Why, it stuck. I mean, it answers. You can assume anything. I mean, listen.
Brady talked a lot about TJ's leadership since he's gotten here.
I think it's a little bit brilliant.
Yeah.
It is. It's definitely a great device to just kind of get people off their game in that scenario. But it sounds like to me, without listening to the rest of the clip, that he's just kind of like dismissing his leadership qualities.
Well, listen, I think I'll play the actual quote. I think he indicts himself. They lost a game to Penn State they weren't supposed to lose, and he's trying to criticize his team. But, Cap, tell me if you agree if he's not criticizing himself. Here's what he said.
We played very, very uninspired basketball from the second we landed from Madison Square Garden until now. We have been atrocious in practice. Maybe the two worst days of practice leading up to a game I've been a part of, and that's leadership. That's leadership. Plain and simple leadership. Put it in bold damn print. Leadership. Lack of.
Yeesh.
And no effort. That's what happens when you in this league when you have none of that.
Cap, isn't all that coaching? Didn't he just indict himself?
I mean, it's weird. Leadership. Is he just purely saying the guys on our team just don't want to practice and then aren't pushing their teammates? Or is he saying our assistant coaching staff and our whole crew, everybody?
Well, I think most coaches expect the players to police themselves to a certain extent, and I think that's probably what he's referring to without really knowing the whole situation.
I think he would have been better off just using the fart noise.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Brady talked a lot about TJ's leadership since he's gotten here.
So also, the other big debate we had in our show.
I swear to God,
By the way,
I'm working it into a game.
I got a debate real quick.
I am working into it. So, Bergman, you have to give me all your mythical money.
If you do it, I swear I'll do it.
Into a game?
I swear,
Oh.
yeah.
Good for you.
He says, if I work it into a game, he'll give me all his mythical money.
I
Not
said,
just
if it's
into
the
a game, it
opposing
has to be
team
like-
is a
LeBron
game
goes
winner.
to the hoop, foul, no whistle.
I'll give you half for that. If it's a game winner from the opposing team and
Yeah.
you do it, a whole thing.
Now that would go viral.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
it really would.
So, wait, I want to ask you guys this. I asked these guys this
Yeah.
earlier. Sedano, you do some play-by-play. What is the appropriate amount of enthusiasm
For the opponent?
Yes. So, for example, I'll give you an example. Jamal Murray hit a game winner the other night. Here's Chris Marlowe, the Denver announcer. This is a really good call.
Yeah.
Murray's got it. Murray with 3 seconds. Lets it go for the win. Got it! Jamal Murray, cold-blooded.
Really good.
Okay, really good call. Here's one of my favorite announcers in the whole league.
Right.
Kevin Calabro.
Oh, yeah. I love Kevin
From
Calabro.
TNT.
Portland.
Yeah, he's in Portland.
Yeah.
Same exact play. Here's Kevin. Yeah.
Murray handles, crossing over, steps back, a triple for the win. Got it. Well, 9/10 of a second remaining.
Right.
I don't have a huge issue
Got
with
it.
I think that's what your fans want.
Right.
But I will say this. Like, I was in the car on Sunday listening to Bills Jets on Sirius XM, and I think Bob Wischusen is one of the best play-by-play
Yeah,
guys
Jets guy.
in sports. He does college football for ESPN and college basketball too. And he called a Buffalo touchdown. Maybe not with the exact same enthusiasm he'd call a Jets one, but close. And I also respected that, too, because it was an incredible play. When I watched back the highlight, I'm like, oh, yeah, I get why he was so hyped up.
Was it where the guy somersaulted into the end zone from the Bills?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that was a
Cappy,
crazy play.
I had this exact situation hit me 2 weeks ago. I was doing Lakers, Indiana, so we pulled it. Tell me if this is an appropriate amount of enthusiasm, too much or too little. Halliburton brings it in. Turner, 3 for the lead. No good. Rebound loose. Halliburton's got it. Halliburton down the middle. Halliburton throws it outside. Nebhard for the win. Got it. Nebhard hit it at the buzzer, and the Lakers lose by 1.
No, you know what? I liked it because it sounded like it hurt you that he hit the 3. So I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't have an issue either way. Like, I think either way to do it is good. Because if it is an incredible play, like the somersault play Cappy was talking about, I mean, that's hard to not be, like, amazed by, even if it's the other team.
Right. There was
but you were doing, like, a lot of play-by-play. There was a shot. There was a rebound. There was a dribble, a pass, a shot. We heard the
it
heard
was
the
controlled
horn.
chaos. It was a fire drill.
Yeah, well, at the end of that game, it was a scramble.
Got it.
Yeah, but I always fight that. Like, how much enthusiasm?
No, I thought you nailed it there.
Do
That's
you
fine.
have as a visiting? And it's like most of your broadcasts are national, George.
They're all
so
national.
You've
yeah,
got to
so
play it.
I can be excited for both.
Yeah,
you know.
And
So
the best guys are like Kevin Harlan and Calabro and those guys. When they get a great moment like that on a national game, they almost always nail it.
Yeah, look, I think that you have to do one of those things where it's really like I think it's challenging personally when you're a home broadcaster because there is an expectation that I think people have of what you should sound like. I think I always remember like when I used to cover like the Heat back then with LeBron and those guys, and let's say they'd go out to dinner, and then like somebody took like a picture of them, and they'd be like hanging out, right, like having dinner, even though they lost, right? People are like, why are they having fun after they lost? And I'm like, yo, they're human beings. They want to just go have dinner. Like, who cares?
All right. The other question I want to run by you is what we used in Wheel of Questions today.
Yeah, this is a big question.
Okay. So, Cappy.
Yep.
I issue you a challenge, and this would be it. I offer to give you $1,000.
Okay.
I give you a bucket of water.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is you walk into Sam Pines' office. Sam's our big boss.
Mm-hmm.
You dump the bucket of water on his head. You cannot pre-warn him or say anything beforehand. You just have to walk in, dump the bucket of water on his head, and walk out.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot say anything to him for 60 seconds after that. And then after 60 seconds, you can say whatever you want. You can apologize. You can give him half the money. You can do whatever. But you cannot speak for 60 seconds after you dump the bucket of water on his head. Unannounced. You walk into his office and just dump it. Would you do it?
I'm inclined to pass on this.
How much money?
$1,000.
$1,000.
I mean, $1,000. So, John, will you like spice it up a little bit? I mean, is there? I'm saying no to the original.
If
offer.
I got 30 seconds, I'd do it for $1,000. 30 seconds.
Why do you think 30 seconds makes a difference?
Because I think 30 seconds, first of all, he's stunned, right?
Yeah.
So that's at least a good 5 to 10 seconds where he's just stunned.
Yeah.
What happened? What just really happened
and then
here?
he's looking at himself like, am I really all soaked here? Like he's looking around.
You've already left the bill. You've already ran off.
That's already a couple, right? And then I can move out of the office area.
It is critical that 60 seconds
It's
after
a long
where
time.
you can't explain
Right,
it.
and then I'm moving around, and then he can start to chase me, and then after 30 seconds, I can tell him what really happened.
Well, so
and then
what
like,
really
here's
happened?
$500, bro.
I think I would say if I did it to Bergman, he would like, what the hell, dude? And he would probably punch me.
Yeah.
But the hardest thing would be if I could just say the word wait.
Yeah.
Like wait.
Yeah.
I think I could, Greg. I could give you a facial expression to indicate that.
Well, you could
like,
do that.
Something
like the
good
hand
was
up, like
coming.
no.
Yeah.
But it'd be really hard to be quiet for that 60 seconds.
Like
right,
Brian
so then we
Windhorst.
did.
Okay, so this came up
Then we
because
did
they were
variations
on
of
the,
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were on the Laker plane driving home.
Yeah.
Flying home.
Yeah.
And it was like, who would you do this to? Would you do this to Stu Lance?
And all of us said no.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, no to Stu. No.
Yeah. No. We wouldn't do it.
No to Stu. Would
Although
you do
when I
this
went
to Tim Harris?
No. Amanda said she would.
How much would it take for you to do that to LeBron? Like you're on the team plane.
I think it would have to be. It would have to be $2 million.
$2 million.
Because I think I'm getting fired.
Right.
Oh, you're definitely getting fired.
Are you? You have somewhat a relationship
You're
with
definitely
LeBron.
getting fired.
You
I
have
would never.
somewhat of a relationship with
crazy?
LeBron.
I would never do that.
No chance.
Wait a minute.
I don't know him like that.
LeBron's a businessman. You don't think he'd appreciate it after all was said and done?
No, I don't.
Sort of a credibility issue.
No, absolutely
Sort of a
not.
credibility issue as a reporter. Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, what player in the NBA would I be? I don't think there's anybody in the NBA I'd be that cool enough to do that.
No.
Where I'd have to go 60 seconds without telling them.
Yeah,
Clay?
that's the whole thing. Clay.
I think Clay maybe.
Clay would probably look at you like you were crazy.
He'd be like, what the?
And then just shake his head and walk away.
Yeah.
And then when you went to talk to him 60 seconds later, he went nothing to do with you.
Right.
I can't imagine Steph going crazy. Would he? There was a really cute moment. Did you guys see the clip that?
Steph's
kid.
Yeah.
So Steph's walking to the locker room with his holding hands with Cannon, his son, who's 2 or 3.
No, he's older than that. He's like
Is he?
4 or
is he?
5.
So he turns around. He looks young.
He's like Riley's age back in the day.
And
when Ramona and Brian wanted Riley out of the press room.
Yeah, and he's looking around, and Steph's doing like a walk and talk interview with some guy on an iPhone, and then Cannon realizes that Clay is walking behind him.
Yeah,
he turns around, he goes, "Hi, Clay Thompson."
Yeah,
and it's very funny. Clay goes, "Hey, Cannon, what's up, man?" But it's very cute if you haven't seen it.
So why'd you pick Sam, though? I mean, $1,000 to pour a bucket of water on Sam.
By the way, Sam's response to all of this,
Yeah.
Sam is, and for people who don't know, listening home, Sam is our new boss. He's been here less than a year. He's a great guy. We all love him. But we don't really know him well enough to walk in and dump a bucket of water on his head.
Yeah.
Although Greg went to him after I proposed this scenario.
And I said that I would, by the way.
And Sam looked right at Greg and said, based on all that, I would be disappointed if you didn't do it.
Right.
So Sam's probably, to your point, Cappy, Sam's probably not the right guy. You've got to do it to somebody who has a degree of seriousness to
Like
them.
Amanda, she'd claw your eyes out.
She said no. She said she wouldn't. And by the way, Amanda says she'll dump it on anybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anybody. I don't believe her.
She drew the line at
Would we
Woj, though.
finally get?
She wouldn't do it to Woj.
Yeah.
Woj. Yeah,
Woj,
she
that was
said-
the
Hell
one.
no, I wouldn't do it to Woj either.
Me neither.
Would Stephen A. take it in the spirit in
No.
which it was intended?
No, absolutely not. First of all, his suit probably costs so much money.
Yeah, you'd have
Just
to pay.
on that,
So-
the $1,000 wouldn't be enough to replace the bill to clean it.
When I went to Stu with all this, after we'd all debated, and nobody said they would do it to Stu, I said, all right, I explained the whole thing to him. I go, I walk up to you, and I have a really good relationship with Stu. I walk up to you, I dump the water on your head, I wait 60 seconds. You're so furious at me, you want to kill me.
Yeah.
And after 60 seconds is up, I hand you $500. I hand you half the money, and I say, I am so sorry. They dared me to do this for $1,000, and I made the decision that if you get $500 just to get a little wet, it would be worth it. And I hope I'm right. And Stu looked at me, dead serious. He goes, I need all the money. And that was it. Sedano and Cap coming up. Momo and I will be back tomorrow. ESPN.